The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey, what? Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, October 30th, 2023. This sports program starts now.
Football!
Happened yesterday. Football is happening tonight, and obviously the weekend of football was fantastic. There's new storylines developing. There's injuries that are potentially going to rattle not just one organization, but with the trade deadline looming tomorrow at 4 p.m., there's potential moves to be made all around the league. Tonight, the Raiders of Las Vegas will fly to the beautiful city of Detroit, Michigan.
Hell yeah!
To take on the Lions, who are favored by 7.5 at most books. It is a beautiful time to get involved with football, and we are lucky to be here. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer,
Dahn.
Cowboys Tone Diggs is here, and 9-year NFL vet, host of the Man to Man podcast, a man who played every single position in the secondary of the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius J. Butler is here. Boys, this hour is presented by Verizon. Shout out to Verizon. You guys are the absolute best. And remember, the Verizon 5G ultra wideband now reaches 200 million people and keeps growing.
Wow.
It's not stagnant. It's not stopping.
No.
It's still climbing. More than 200 million people will start happening at least probably right now.
Yeah.
And now.
Yep.
Woo!
And way to go.
Yeah.
200 million and 3 people just right there.
Unbelievable.
As it should be, by the way. And right now, you can give them a try for free for 30 days.
Wow.
Shout out to Verizon. We appreciate the hell out of them. And shout out to the NFL and football in general for the weekend that was. A couple massive games on Saturday as well that we'll certainly dive into. But let's talk about the Week 8 NFL Sunday slate. And let's start with one team who appears to be all the way back. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple years back, there was a team that represented Cincinnati, Ohio, and went all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Aaron Donald being an absolute monster and some other things happening, they might win that Super Bowl game. But now, staring down the start of a season, everybody was laughing in their face about how bad they were. And another injury to Joseph Burrow in the calf this time, so it kind of limited how much he can move. They thought maybe this is the year the Cincinnati Bengals would fall off a cliff and they go back to being the Bungles. That is not the case. They went into Santa Clara and played against the San Francisco 49ers, and the Joe Burrow-led Bengals are all the way back. Here's 3 plays of Joey Burrow running his ass off that make you go, wait a second, is this Joe Burrow better than he's ever been? Here's in the first drive, 3rd and 10. Defensive line for San Francisco 49ers are incredible. Hufanga's flying in there. What's Joe Burrow do? Make a massive play, get a first down. How about this? QB draw.
Whoa.
QB draw on a 3rd and 9, first down for Joe Burrow. And here's another one. 2nd and 9, don't see anything. You see it break down. Let me go ahead and run. Scoot, take a shot, move. Joe Burrow is back. The Moxie's around. He wore the alien head into the stadium whenever he showed up. And there's for a reason. Because back in the beginning of the season, this is what Joey Burrow looked like when he was walking across a highway. You think there was any scoot, 2nd and 9, 3rd and 10,
No.
3rd and 9 calls happening then? No way. All Joey kept telling us was it's getting better. It's getting better. And all of us thought, how's that even possible in the middle of a season for an injury, especially to your calf, to get better? He was telling the truth. They look great. Now, Darius.
Yep.
Your Miami Dolphins team got another big-time win.
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Tua is continuing to do Tua stuff, which is put the ball right into a bucket when you need it. And Tyreek Hill is somehow always open. And I think the reason why he's always open is because McDaniel, the plays that he calls, sets up for play action and things for people to kind of forget about the cheetah out there. And then all of a sudden, he's got Tyreek deep. Now, the Bengals are back. Are they the top team in the AFC outside of your Miami Dolphins if they're able to remain healthy? And this is the Joey Burrow that we have? Because they made that Niners team who Hey.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
They need Trent Williams and Debo back.
Yes, they do.
Very different team without
Very
Trent
bad.
Williams. Okay? Trent Williams not only sets the tone in the trenches, but also they used to bring him in motion, in move, and the other team has to account for him. Let alone Debo, slant God. You don't think that would help right now with Brock Purdy, who has 5 picks over his last 3 games, including a fumble loss yesterday, so 6 turnovers in the last 3 games for Brock Purdy, who somehow came back down to earth a little bit after an incredible start, but nonetheless, still against that defense. Cincinnati Bengals, Lou Anarumo in that defense of the Bengals flew around, obviously. What do you think about the Bengals? Are they new top class of the AFC?
Love the Bengals, everything about them. Kind of the Bengals we all expected coming into the year. Obviously, Burrow was slowed up with that calf, but I wouldn't put him at the top. I won't even put my Dolphins at the top, honestly. Still looking for that signature win. Impressive win yesterday, but still looking for that signature win. Right now, I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now, both sides of the ball with Lamar and how he's playing, that defense, how it's been playing all year, and still with the Chiefs. I know ugly loss yesterday against the Broncos, but I'll still put the Chiefs right up there with Mahomes and how that defense has been playing all year as well. Those are my top 2 teams in the AFC.
All right, well, let's talk about the Chiefs. First time Patrick Mahomes has ever lost their Broncos.
Wow. Oh, boy. Big deal.
Now, before he was even the starter for the Kansas City Chiefs, he was playing against the Broncos. Last game of the season, whenever Alex Smith was the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes' rookie year, we talked to Alex Smith about it on Friday. Alex Smith was resting. That's how good the Chiefs were. That's how good Alex Smith was. Let's get ready for the playoffs. We're already locked in. We're just going to go ahead and rest. Let's let Patrick Mahomes go. Well, he goes out there and he wins. And then the next 11 times he played against the Denver Broncos, he won. This dude never stopped beating the hell out of this team from mile high. Now, with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton putting up stats that put him at the top of the NFL for things, and the way that defense clamped down on a man who had IVs in his arms all night on Saturday because he was sick. Patrick Mahomes had the flu. He was not healthy. He was tired. You saw him. He had the shivers on a sideline. He had a little heat wave going on. He didn't understand what everybody was saying because his ears were so clogged because he had allergies. Patrick Mahomes was sick. I'm not holding this against him. I'm putting an asterisk next to this whole thing. But I will say, this is what everybody thought this Denver defense was going to look like this season. That's why whenever they don't show up until week 8 and this whole thing happens, I think everybody's alarmed, surprised, and perturbed. But remember, this is what this Broncos defense looked like last year and the year before. Even if Patrick Mahomes was able to get wins, this is the first sign of life from the defensive side of the ball for the Denver Broncos, and they made a very sick Patrick Mahomes not look his absolute best. Are you out on the Chiefs after this? Do you think they're able to bounce back? And what do you think about the Broncos? And why have they not looked like this all season on the defensive side of the ball?
Definitely not out on the Chiefs. We've seen Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey. We've seen these guys do their thing for far too long to be out on them this early in the season.
And he had a flu.
Yeah, they just flu game.
He was sick.
It was cold out, okay? It's going to be cold the rest of the year.
That's why Taylor didn't go. She didn't want to get sick. She's got big things going on. Fisher, a billionaire.
So he comes around when it's convenient for her.
He was sick.
He
was shaking. He didn't have his full strength. His eyes shaking. He couldn't see anything. Even those little things that were dragging along his eyes, he couldn't see it. So, like, I get it. Denver did really good. That defense, guy was sick. He had a diaper on. It was basement and attic. They're saying.
Don't matter.
That defense, man, Vance Joseph, and obviously everybody's been calling for his head. You know, you give up 70 points. Obviously, people are going to give you a lot of stuff for it. But they showed up. And without Kareem Jackson, you know, you're missing a 14-year vet back there, and they showed up. They locked down, had them in absolute hell. Definitely not out on them. But the Broncos, I think they can build on this, find some momentum. Offense still didn't look great, but they were put in some very good positions to succeed, so some good team ball there for sure, but not out on the Chiefs.
Russell Wilson, touchdown-interception ratio is like #1 in the league. There's some completion percentage, passing yards, everything. He's like top. There's like real stats that aren't just like made-up stats. We live in a world where there's made-up stats, like at Mile High in the second quarter with 11:52 left. Like they're able to do that to make people look good, but there's some real. That was an incredible catch by Sutton, by the way. That was absolutely filthy. Nice little Moss. Great ball too on an absolute line. Let alone this one goes up and over Reed and is able to find Sutton there. I don't think it gets chatted about. That means his arm's back. Last year we saw some bottle rockets coming out of Russell Wilson's arm. And people had chit-chatted about whether or not he was in his full shape or what form Russell Wilson was in last year. We saw glimpses of it all year where there's like, hey, feels like Russ has a chance to be back, Yesterday he really showcased that. We all thought maybe Sean Payton was going to have to move on from Russ, but maybe Sean Payton and Russ are the perfect match over there, Ty.
It's certainly possible. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of win that can kind of like galvanize an entire season. Like going into this game, we were talking about, them being sellers at the trade deadline and basically all their good players who they have remaining, getting rid of them, and Sean Payton kind of building this team in his image. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore, and it is. I mean, it's a little deceiving because I think going into the fourth quarter, he only had like 100 yards passing, so you can kind of make those stats look however you want. But, I mean, you watch these games, like, it has been the defense up to this point. Like, Russ he hasn't been playing great, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's the reason that they've been losing these
win
games.
games.
Exactly. And he kind of showed, hey, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And yesterday, they that's a big step forward for this season.
He beat the sick man. Yeah, the guy's really sick. I can't get But hey, some teams, that's not the Broncos' fault.
No. Exactly.
They didn't shoot the flu into Patrick Mahomes this week and said, you know what, we want a guy who's a little bit exhausted, tired, can't see as well, run as well, throw as good, because he's so damn sick.
Right.
But the Broncos, you're right, could propel this win and turn it into something special to begin the Sean Payton era officially in Week 8. Still a lot of football left. Go ahead, Tom.
A lot of football left. Does this loss for the Chiefs right before we got the deadline tomorrow for the trade deadline? Now, Travis Kelce is a 1A receiver. He is a 1A tight end. He's probably good enough to be 1 and 2 on any single team. Doesn't matter.
And he's a baseball fan.
And he's a baseball fan. Do they need a legitimate wide receiver?
So I think if you were to watch that film back, they clamped on Kelce yesterday. So whenever Patrick had to move off, whenever he gets moving, and I think there were some people I heard that said that Patrick was moving a little bit quicker than he normally would out of the pocket too. Like there was a couple times where he didn't have to maybe get as much happy feet, and he did, probably because his whole body was sore.
Yeah,
because of the sickness that he had.
Maybe.
But in those moments, that's normally when Travis Kelce and he are on the same page. But with them just saying, this is not going to happen today, it does change the trajectory of that entire offense. 5 turnovers too for the Chiefs. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the muff punt counts as one of those. So 4 turnovers outside of the muff punt is not possible. But do they need another weapon? Is that something? They already traded for McCole Hardman.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already said that they need another weapon. Do they need another one in your eyes, or do you think they make any moves before this trade deadline tomorrow ends?
They do, but I'm just thinking who will be out there, who will be available. Judy's been on it, but that's in the division, and they just got to win. I just don't know who's out there, but they definitely need a big weapon. That 4th and 2 late. You throw the ball deep to Scott Moore, and that was kind of the only place you could have went to. A lot of people giving, Scott Moore shit about that. Was a tough catch, contested, back of the end zone. That's the one you want to give up as a defense. But, you need, Rice is young, Ross, he's got his stuff going on. Scott Moore has just not been that guy that they drafted. So, they definitely needed another guy
Rice
they could depend on.
He does.
He does.
Rice got juice down that sideline.
And he had a drop. Like, I don't even know if they need another weapon. Like, the Broncos aren't very good, unfortunately.
Oh.
The Chiefs, they got caught in a division game on the road with the cold weather and with Mahomes sick, allegedly.
The sickest any player's ever played a game.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
I heard
Really?
IVs all night. I was listening. IVs. How do you sleep with needles in you? Well, I guess if you're in a hospital, he wasn't.
I mean,
he was in a hotel.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
What's that?
Hasselbeck was 40 years old.
Yeah, I saw him dead.
Dead.
Showed up at a game, Thursday Night Football. Houston Texans. I like to go on first bus. I think everybody did. No big deal. I walk in there. There's a figure that looks like Kenny from South Park laying in the middle of the locker room down, hood over face, tied tight, just laid out on the floor in the locker room. And I go, there's a dead body in our locker room. Somebody going to get the dead body. It's in here. So I go and give a kick, like classic, like,
good.
What is this?
Alive?
What is this? And it opens. It's our starting quarterback for the night, Matt Hasselbeck. Oh, okay. This is good. A lot of punting tonight, obviously. What's going on? He got what?
Bad food.
E. coli.
Chipotle.
Chipotle or Qdoba. I forget which one.
No, it was the first one. It was Chipotle.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Okay, sweet. Don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Don't know which one it was.
Allegedly.
I knew it was one of the. No, I think it came out to be a.
Yeah.
He was maybe the first one.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
maybe the first one in the United States of America that found out, like, hey, was it lettuce? What did you say?
Yeah, tainted lettuce, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
lot
a lettuce
of people got
Did
it.
you get for eating lettuce?
He was in hospital 2 nights before.
Yeah.
He was in hospital 2 nights, and then day of, they were literally putting IVs into him. And he went out in there, and he did his thing. I mean, he certainly did his thing. But we don't know if his IVs were the same as
Sure.
Patrick.
Uh-oh, wait.
We don't know what was going on.
Really? So you're telling me Matt Hasselbeck in 2013, 2012 had better IVs than Patrick Mahomes? Are we just going to make excuses for this guy all year?
I'm certainly going to do that, yeah, because I don't want what happened yesterday to be what the Chiefs are going forward.
Right.
No.
Okay? So in my head, Guy's sick
Guy's
as
so
a dog.
sick.
What do you want
Kidding
from me?
me?
We don't need that for the rest of the NFL. And there is a conversation to be had about Travis enjoying his Friday night, before an away game, potentially in the division. There's a lot of people chit-chatting about that. And if you're going to do that, he knows this. He's been in the league a long time. If you're going to be that public and doing something, you have to have a big game. Game. They did not, so obviously that chatter is only going to grow louder. This is going to inspire that Chiefs team.
Okay.
I think this is one of those games that the Chiefs always have. They lost to the Colts last year.
Yeah.
Okay, people forget. They lost to the Colts last year. They go on to win the Super Bowl. It's a long season. It's going to take place, but it was ugly yesterday. And very fun football team to watch was not fun at all to watch. And that's because that Denver Broncos defense was doing what the Denver Broncos defense was expected to do coming into the season and hasn't done
Does
yet.
Patrick have to fly on an incubated airplane to Germany? Are we allowing him with the rest of the team? Is that how bad you know a lot more about the sickness that he had? Is it that bad that he had?
I don't think I would be able to survive his sickness. So that is why
then.
I don't think anybody knows what he's going through. But that is an interesting question. We'd assume this bug would be out by the time the team takes off to go to Germany.
We'll hope so. Yeah.
Do we know when these teams are traveling over to Germany?
I thought the Dolphins were leaving today, and I thought the Chiefs were leaving tomorrow.
Okay, so
More day.
Because the Dolphins are home, so I assume that a little easier.
the thing about Patrick Mahomes, can't afford a private plane over there.
True.
You know what I mean? So
Well, maybe Taylor could give him one.
well, I don't.
She can afford it. She's a billionaire.
She's been in a lot of trouble for her private plane travels, Tony. Let's not forget.
A lot of trouble by who?
Global
The
warmness.
internet, yeah.
By who?
Global
The
warmness.
internet.
Of course. Hey, listen,
right.
we're saving the world. That's real trouble.
Yeah, Greta
That's real
Thunberg.
trouble.
Whatever that lady
When is her Euro? Never. We're not even going to get it. All right, let's just move.
Hey, it matters. It matters.
It does.
You look at
I see the
yesterday.
stats.
Yeah.
It was a fun day on the internet. Everyone was
Yeah.
destroying her. You remember? Hey, you want to go get some lunch? Let's hop on my private plane and go to Paris.
No, it was destroyed. They were
She
saying,
leased it out, okay?
yeah,
it
she's
wasn't
working
all
her plane.
her.
Come
She's
on.
a business person.
Right.
Oh, would you look at that?
What's that,
Our
Tony?
European tour starts next week.
Where at?
And by Europe, I mean international because it starts in
Yeah.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
All right, well, look at that.
I think Europe's not till 2024.
Bro, she's selling out stadiums in every single continent, every single part of the country or world, I'm sorry.
Teaching people English.
Shout out to her. Yeah, legit.
Legitimately.
There's people learning English through these Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah.
But with that being said, somebody that's that successful has good aura around her.
Yeah.
yeah.
So whenever her aura's around, maybe thinks, does she not know we got a playoff push
know.
coming
Yeah.
up? Her tour starts Argentina when? Next week?
November 9th.
Yeah, next
Oh, buddy.
How
That's
the
a
Chiefs
quick
ever-
trip from Germany to Argentina.
You would
I
assume she would have had a
assume.
meeting underneath the Denver airport, too.
We've been told that Kansas City is potentially leaving on Thursday to go to Germany.
Thursday.
Okay.
So we got a couple of days for Patrick Mahomes to, that's just what our sources say here at JSPN, Journalism Sports Network.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That E doesn't stand for what it stands for. No.
Essential.
Yeah, exactly. JSPN, our sources have told us that the Chiefs leave Thursday, so he'll be
good.
He'll be back by then.
Yeah.
It is a damn shame, though, division game that he had that sickness that he had.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the fact that the Broncos took advantage of it, and they played their absolute best game. Speaking of absolute best game, how about the Dallas Cowboys?
Hey,
Unreal.
How about the Dallas Cowboys? And we've been talking about stats for a long time about Dak Prescott and where he ranks in QBR whenever the Dallas Cowboys are in the lead and whenever they are tied or whenever they are losing. Well, it's not just Dak Prescott. It's the way that entire team operates. And obviously, you get a touchdown, then you get a block kick, and then that's a safety. Then you get a big return. Then you get another touchdown. Then it's 33-3 at halftime. There's a different way of playing for that defense that has not been great since Diggs has lost. The ball hawks can hawk, and they can go get it. This team's obviously going to be trying to throw. Not that the Rams don't normally, but whenever you're down that much, it's a completely different style on defense and how aggressive you're playing. And then on offense, Dak Prescott could do no wrong yesterday. He could do no wrong, it felt like, in any of his. CD Lamb obviously has a massive game. Ferguson, this guy, what a catch. And then also, hey.
the Sally. Hey.
Yeah, hey, I don't know what this is, but I'm a big fan of how he has practiced that. He ripped that. And then obviously that catch is bananas. It's like, how do we feel about the Cowboys? I think the defense had a couple question marks around it after the Diggs injury. Like, wow, Diggs must have been a really important piece of this whole thing behind the scenes and game plan. They've just completely fallen apart since his injury. Mike is back in there. Defense is hunting. Dak's doing his thing. I feel like it's all the way Bland. I mean, Stafford just threw that ball to Bland right there.
3 of them.
Feels like that was a miscommunication, but also not good and not Bland's fault. He threw the ball right to his chest. That's not on him. He took advantage of it. But this Cowboys team, if they're able to play like this, I think we all say, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Are they going to be able to keep this up, you think, T-Bud?
Man, it's tough. It's tough. We're at the halfway mark. We've seen kind of like half the games where they've kind of played like this. Now, Stafford's going to give you one of those. That's just who he's been. And Deron Bland, I mean, last year as a rookie, 4 picks, playing primarily on the inside. Now having to play outside and inside a little more with Diggs being out. He's been unbelievable. 3 pick sixes already this season. But that defense, if that offense for the Cowboys can create a lead, kind of like the throwback Colts, and you get down a couple possessions and then you're trying to block up those guys, it's hell on the field. So I think they can keep this up for sure.
Okay, so offense, incredible.
Yep.
Okay, Dak Prescott was doing his thing, slinging it. We're talking about dropping.
Oh, yeah.
CD's in.
Cook healthy, CDs.
Running, we're going.
Yep.
Okay, Cam Akers, we are doing it all. But defense, they were great. They were all the way back. Special teams. Okay, this Aubrey guy
Unreal.
Yeah.
from the logo,
Yeah.
dead center. Not even a question. Last name Aubrey, I think he was a professional soccer player. He was in
Played at
the
Notre Dame, right?
yeah, but he was in the XFL or the AAFL or the USFL,
one of them, yeah.
or the MM.
One of the FLs.
Yep.
He was over there.
Yeah.
And then they sign him. This dude's pure.
Nails.
And it's like the moment the Dallas Cowboys, being the Dallas Cowboys kicker is a big one. Like that's a big, you're on prime time. It's going to be big games. It's going to be 100-some thousand people there. It's going to be a scene to just bury the ball from the logo as a very young kicker in this league, knowing that, hey, this is going to get replayed. Everybody understands this and sees this. He's phenomenal. And then they get a blocked punt, and this Rams guard just decides not to block.
Basically.
Like just chooses not to block anybody. They'll show the back angle, not the Cowboys' fault, not old buddy's fault, but if somebody doesn't choose to block for you or block, like you got to take advantage of it. And they do. They absolutely. So all 3 phases, they were not only cooking in, but they were dialed in, executing. It feels like Big Mike McCarthy's got his squad ready to roll here halfway through the season.
Yeah, kind of. Doesn't it sort of worry you with the Cowboys? Like we see them play great teams like the Niners, and they just aren't even remotely a good football team. And then when they play teams like the Rams, they're fantastic. Like the Patriots, they beat the hell out of. And it feels like the Chargers are falling into this too. Like, are either of these teams ever going to go on and beat the good, great teams in the NFL, or is stuff like this going to happen against, teams like the Rams who are middle of the pack, like kind of good?
Middle of the pack. Wait a minute. They just beat the Colts a couple weeks ago.
That's
Middle
true.
of the pack.
That's true.
Middle of the pack.
And better than we thought they were going to be this year, honestly, on both sides of the ball. I know, at least for me, I didn't have high expectations at all for the Rams, but it was just ugly from the jump, and they never could get it back. They fought a little bit, made it a little interesting at some point, but just couldn't get it going.
Well, Stafford got hurt too. He ends up leaving the game. Ripon is quarterback, and remember, they did draft Stetson Bennett, which we thought was going to be the future. He's currently away from the team, so when Ripon goes in, you go, all right, is this guy going to be okay? He was not. No. He was not, so they got a lot to figure out. There's some stats coming out about McVay post-Super Bowl win and how his team's doing and everything. Interesting.
Not good.
It's really going to get interesting. Now, we know we're in a week-to-week league. Just a couple weeks ago, the Rams beat somebody, and it was like, hey, what McVay's been able to do with this young team, he can build the culture up, he can do it all again. But then they lose a game like this in embarrassing fashion, and all of a sudden it's like, let's start looking in a little bit to see how this team's doing. Week-to-week league, he's got a new baby, so it's not just games that he's worried about at this point. It's also going to be trying to find some sleep. But it's real. It's like this Rams future, what is it? How does it look? Because Stafford goes out. How long is he going to be out for?
Yeah.
We'll ask Schefter, I guess, here in about 7 minutes or so if he has any information. Because if Ripon's going to be the quarterback, are we staring down another year of – and then you got Aaron Donald, right, who came back. Cooper Kupp came back, and you got some weapons. It's like, what are they in right now? It's kind of in a situation of flux, and I guess that only gets chatted about whenever you get exposed, like what the Cowboys did to him yesterday.
Yeah, the Rams are impossible to figure out because it's like 1 week they're world beaters, and it's like, oh wow, this team could compete in their division and go win a playoff game. But the week to week part, like that's what I think about every time I watch the Cowboys. It's like a couple weeks ago when they get their asses kicked by the 49ers, everyone's throwing dirt on them. It's like this team sucks, they're dead, but they've looked unbelievable since then, and I think the Cowboys, like when they play their best game, like they can compete with anybody, but it's just a matter of like if they don't have home field advantage in the playoffs, are they going to be able to go on the road and play one of these upper echelon top tier teams in the NFC where it's like, hey, you really can't have like a bump in a road kind of game? Because I think when they play their best, like we were saying that early in the season, like they're tough to beat. They're very tough to beat when they play their best ball.
Let's talk about the top of the NFC right now, the Eagles. They had a tough one yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Very.
Actually, while you're watching that game, you go, the Commanders got the Eagles' number. The Commanders are going to be able to do this. And then the game ends, and the Eagles win, and Jalen Hurts threw for 4 touchdowns, 300-some yards, almost 400 yards, or 319 yards. A.J. Brown is back in the conversation of making just filthy catches and being the guy. Remember, it was not that long ago, I think it was like 4 weeks ago, where there was a situation on the sideline where Nick Sirianni had come and go, guys. And then Nick Sirianni was asked about it afterwards, and he said, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And they were like, you were right in the middle of it, actually. He goes, I'm not talking about it. I'm not going to comment. But ever since then, they're putting up the numbers that he's putting up. I think he's averaging like 125 yards or something a game. He's the only wide receiver in the league that's doing that outside of Tyreek Hill, I would assume. But yeah, his last 6 games, 9 catches, 131 yards. 175 yards, 127, 131, 137, 130. I mean, he's just going bananas right now. And this is the A.J. Brown that we saw last year. This is what we saw from that Eagles offense that not only got the offensive coordinator hired to Indianapolis, but also got Jalen Hurts the biggest contract in history whenever he signed it. Now, the Commanders have that front 4 that are going to be able to get pressure and do their thing. Now, one of them is allegedly going to be traded at least by tomorrow. So what are the Commanders doing going forward? We don't know. Ron Rivera was back to speaking publicly about things that he should just keep inside of his head, especially on this review conversation. Here's Coach Ron Rivera talking about a rather important replay of Devontae Smith's 4th down catch.
Why did you not challenge that?
Because I didn't see it on the screen. I was looking up the screen to see if there was something that could help me with it. And then I was waiting to hear somebody upstairs, did you see it or not? And we hadn't seen the replay yet. So we weren't sure. So just, they did their hurry up, ran to the line and snapped the ball. And you would almost think in that amount of time somebody else could have looked at it and might have saw it apparently. I mean, I still don't know whether it was or wasn't complete. It wasn't complete?
It wasn't. No, that's why we're asking.
What are your emotions?
Anyways, this has been a thing with Coach Ron Rivera over the last couple of years where he has said things that I assume a lot of coaches have thought. But they've just decided to keep it an inside voice. He's just kind of let it be an outside voice. Kind of like what Frank Reich did just a couple weeks ago. But this is like a new thing that is happening with coaches where it's like, don't have to say that. Don't have to put yourself into that situation. You have to wonder, like, is he as fast as he once was and as quick and as sharp as he once was? Or does he understand kind of the writing on the wall, new ownership, probably a new situation going to be happening going forward? But they were in that game against the Eagles. The Commanders have been pretty much in every single game and could win every single game. They just seemingly don't. What are your thoughts on what the Commanders look like going forward? And the Eagles, they're just going to struggle in the division because division teams know who they are, and that's kind of a story across the board?
Nah, I think the Eagles will just keep finding ways to win. At the end of the year, we'll look up. They'll be 14-3 or 15-2 and be, top probably 1 seed in the NFC. And
how cool would that be? 14-3.
So fun.
Very cool.
He's playing like this, and
Those are
he's
the days.
Clearly not healthy. His knees banged up. He's got something going on there, but he's clearly not healthy. But getting Devontae Smith finally involved, obviously that was a big play that, Bennett, it was a close game. Definitely should have had somebody call down and look at that one. But getting these guys involved, and once they get that run game back going, I mean, this offense is pretty much unstoppable. Defensively, though, a lot of meat left on that bone for them to get better. A lot of improvement that can be done there. Bringing Byard over, you think it would get better. Jalen Carter, he hurt his back, so that'll be a big piece. We'll see how that'll go going forward. But they're deep across the front, so you think they'll figure it out.
And Washington, I mean, we've talked every week about how the tush push is, undefeatable.
How about it?
Uncompete-withable. But, I mean, they got a turnover on one nonetheless.
They did, and then the Eagles said, you ain't doing that again. So here we go. Obviously, Dahn on a goal line trying to get it. Fumbalaya! Fumbaruski! Go ahead and jot the Commanders down as being the only team outside of Vita Vea and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to have success against the brotherly shove this season against the Philadelphia Eagles. Lane Johnson's getting in there. The ball's already on the ground. It don't matter. Commanders ball going the other way. Now, the Eagles say, fool us once. Shame on you. Do us again? No way.
Bingo.
This is the evolution of the brotherly shove. Not only is it a little redirection, misdirection, swift at the edge, because everybody's taught you got to crash down. And look, they were so successful already earlier. We got to do that again. We're not scared. We're going to commit even more. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody's within 3 yards of each other, which creates a lot of space. We have been calling for this for a while. The evolution of the brotherly shove is what's next on deck. Like, I can't wait for the hard count. Hard count's going to be one because the hair trigger that has to be on the D lineman under there has to be absurd. A little misdirection. There's going to come a little leak out. I assume some tight end's going to leak out. Jump pass is coming out of this. So the people that wanted it to be banned, more specifically Peter King, who wanted the brotherly shove to be kicked out of the game, it's like, I think the rest of this year, you're about to see what all facets can come from this particular lineup, and that was the first one. But shout out to the Commanders. Getting a nice successful stop and a turnover there on that first one.
It is interesting with Ron Rivera, too, because I kind of waffle back and forth between him knowing that, like, hey, at the end of the season, unless we, go to the second round of the playoffs, I'm probably going to lose my job, or him operating like a guy who thinks there is no way he can lose his job, and he's going to be the head coach of the Commanders for the next 10 years, because it seems like he has one of these comments, every 2 weeks, and I'm sure people are like, hey, Ron, like, shut the hell up. Just don't say that. But come in the coach's office afterwards and we can chop it up and say this kind of stuff. Don't say it to the media, because then on Monday, everyone's going to be talking about how big of a dipshit you are, and we're going to be in the same kind of song and dance that we've been in many times. Like, it's crazy. I feel like sometimes he does think, like, this is my football team. This is going to be my football team for the next 10, 15 years, and I have nothing to worry about. It's crazy.
We appreciate Coach Ron Rivera, ex-player that's had success coaching.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that. He went through, obviously, beat leukemia.
I believe so.
Beat leukemia. He's a badass. He's a tough guy.
Yes.
But there does come a point where it's like, okay, I don't think Super Bowl winning coach would ever say that. Which is what fans have to kind of think about. And that was a home game for them. So him saying it wasn't up on the board, well, it's like, well, that's also in your building, because how the stadium is operating is within your operation. Like, there's full plans on what replays are shown, how quickly they're shown. There's NFL rules made on how quickly you have to show replays for the opposing team, because there was so much gamesmanship happening within the stadium. Yeah, it became like a thing where obviously they're like, hey, if it's for the other team, do not show that. If you see us running hurry up, like, don't show that whole thing. It's like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. But then you start thinking about that FedEx Field. You got those poop pipes that are bursting. You got gates that are falling. I would assume the person that was running replay was like, we're trying, but the signal to get it to the Jumbotron, that's why they need those updates.
That's right.
Speaking of updates, this man has all of them. Joining us now, senior NFL insider for ESPN. This has become a weekly thing, which we're pretty pumped up about. A lot to discuss, especially with the trade deadline looming tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter.
Gentlemen, happy week. Oh, happy Monday to you. We're past the weekend, although we're still part of the weekend, I guess. We're on Monday here, right?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Best I can tell. Best I can tell.
You know what? Every day's a weekend whenever you're having fun. And what we get to do, we have fun every single day. Happy weekend to you too, Shefty. Happy weekend to you.
How was Utah?
Bro, okay. So I'm not a skier or do the snow stuff. So I've never really had a chance to go to Utah for any reason. Need to go back. It is awesome. People were so kind. Obviously, everybody there was so kind to all of us. We get put in like these ridiculous situations where people are normally going to be nice to us, but there was everybody was nice. The views were insane. The weather was fantastic. I thought about picking up, some ski poles to go skiing up there just so I could be a part of the Salt Lake community. I loved it, Shefty. I did not expect
You didn't go skiing Friday? You could have gotten away there for a little bit, I would think.
No, I went to Utah Jazz game. I'm a coach of the team now. So I had to go there. Yeah, obviously.
Go Jazz.
That's big time. That's big time to go to the Jazz game like that. And they're tweeting about you. That's when you know you've arrived, Pat. Like the critics can take their shots, but you're going to the Jazz, and you could have gone skiing too. So
yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't see any Washington Post articles about me being coach for the Utah Jazz, but happy weekend. I hope it was a great one. Can't wait to see you tonight on television with the Raiders and Lions coverage. Let's dive in here to the weekend. Obviously, trade deadlines tomorrow, 4 p.m. There's been a lot of chatter. There's been some moves already. There's been some Clark move, McCole Hardman moves. There's been some. Are we expecting, due to the injuries that took place this weekend, more specifically to Kirk Cousins, are we expecting any moves for the Vikings to get a quarterback or for the Vikings to potentially make any other moves now that they're sitting where they're sitting at this stage of the season?
Here's the issue with that. On paper, it's sort of like when the Jets lost Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's like, well, who could they go out and get? And they didn't really go out and get anybody. And it's hard to go get a guy. We could talk about it and fans could wish about it, but the Vikings are meeting about it now and they're going over the options. And the fact of the matter is they don't think or know right now that there's an option better than Jaron Hall or Nick Mullins or Sean Mannion, the three quarterbacks who have been in their building, working in their offense, who know their system, who they know. Now, again, you go through everything right now. And there are other people out there. Is it worth going to trade a draft pick to Washington for Jacoby Brissett, who's in the last year of his deal? Washington's 3-5, 0-3 in the division. Maybe they could get him for a late pick. Is it worth pursuing Colt McCoy, who's a free agent? Doesn't sound like that's hot and heavy right now. Maybe that'll change. But that's somebody that worked with Kevin O'Connell in Washington. And so you tell me the guy that is attainable, an upgrade for their roster, makes sense to do from a deal stamp. It's hard to come up with the right guy. We can continue throwing in names. Go ahead. I'll answer all the names.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is they have to bring in somebody, but there aren't a lot of people who they believe are going to be upgrades over the three quarterbacks they have.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple quarterbacks that have been chatted about maybe being traded that could potentially be upgrades over those guys. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Ryan Tannehill, with what Will Levis was able to do yesterday for the Tennessee Titans, people thought maybe they'll try to move Ryan Tannehill now that maybe he has a little bit of value, and a team like the Vikings or maybe others need a quarterback. Or Mac Jones, who's been discussed about being traded before the season even started, seemingly to the Raiders, I think is the noise that kind of took place. Would those two guys potentially be on the move, or is that all just fodder for fantasy football folks?
I think it's more fodder. Look, here's the thing with the trade deadline. I never rule out anything. Everything's always on the table. I've been surprised before. But I don't think the Titans are trading Ryan Tannehill today to the Minnesota Vikings or before the deadline. Mac Jones is interesting, but then that's New England just cashing out on its season, because one of the reasons that the Patriots haven't made a quarterback changes, they just don't have another guy right now that they feel they could turn to. So if you're trading away Mac Jones in a season that's gone south anyway, okay, but that's checking out at less than the halfway mark, which just seems a little strange to me when they like Mac Jones and they don't have another guy. So again, in a perfect world, let's say Minnesota wanted Mac Jones, and this is the first I've heard of it. What did the Vikings give up for him? And what are the Patriots willing to trade him for? It's hard to come up with that equation to make it work for both sides.
Got it. Yeah.
For any quarterback, Mac Jones or anybody.
Yeah, I think the Mac Jones conversation's just been happening all season from New England Patriot fans mostly. How do we,
What do we think?
How do we, because they're projected to be 5th overall pick right now, which they think, could potentially make some moves to maybe get the actual quarterback of the future. But I want to let Mac know, I think you are, buddy.
That's right.
I think you are.
Playing great.
I think you are doing just fine. There's a couple more names that have popped up.
But before we get to that, isn't it funny now how much people value and appreciate Kirk Cousins, who wasn't always thought of this way? Mm-hmm. Now they don't have Kirk. Oh, what are we doing without Kirk Cousins? Right? He's been really good. He's been under the radar good for a long time. And something like this, I think, makes people understand how good and valuable he's been to the Minnesota Vikings. He's been there for every single game other than the COVID game since they signed him in 2018. He's helped elevate the play of the wide receivers around him. He's made him a playoff contender. They were on a roll here after starting 0-3. They're 4-4. Now I think people appreciate, respect, and value Kirk Cousins a little bit more than they did coming into this season.
Yeah, well, if I die, I die, he said during that entire thing. And I want to be a journalist, just properly quote him. He did say that. Yep. But what happens with him now, you think? Because last year's contract, he was going to get traded maybe. He's not going to get traded. Minnesota's going to keep him around. They got Addison playing great ball.
Yeah.
Obviously, Justin Jefferson's going to get paid, but he's going to need a quarterback. You can't just have anybody throwing the ball to a guy like that, especially if you're going to pay him the amount of money you're going to pay him. What does the future look like for Kirk with this injury happening now, you think?
Well, again, there are so many tentacles to this one injury that make it so fascinating on so many different levels. If you just talk about Kirk right now, he's a free agent after the season. The team cannot tag him. So he becomes a free agent. Now, nobody has crushed the business world of football any better than Kirk Cousins, who's made something like $225 million during the course of his career.
Damn.
But no matter how much money you've made, you had the chance to be a free agent at a position that never has true free agent guys who can play at a high level. So now he'll be a free agent, but he's going to be 36 in August. He's coming off an Achilles, and I still think he'll be desirable, but there's a medical question that now has to be answered. You have to see how he's coming along and progressing and how that's holding up. So rather than him
He's going to be okay.
landing this deal on the opening day of free agency for $45, $50 million a year, whatever the number would have been, I still think he gets paid a lot, but there now are some extenuating circumstances that complicate it, that make it a little less appealing, which is unfortunate, but I still think he'll be in the main. You brought up Justin Jefferson, right? So I always felt like his return this season was contingent upon this team winning and playing well, being that he was waiting for that big contract extension and turned down a huge extension before the start of the season. And they were on the road to doing that. They're 4-4, had played so well. And so now that gets Justin Jefferson ready, and he loves to compete. And he may come back anyway. But let's be honest now, there's a business side to this also that he's going to have to consider to figure out what he wants to do. So now that they don't have Kirk Cousins playing quarterback, are they going to win? Is it going to be, for him, a wise move to come back and play? Like, there's so many tentacles to the whole thing that make it so unfortunate. And anytime an organization suffers an injury like that, it is just a gut punch.
Yeah.
A gut punch.
Yeah, and also to Kirk, it's a gut punch too, because obviously he's been playing great football and there's a lot of money on the line for this entire thing. He loves ball. Also, I think his popularity is at its peak because of quarterback.
Yep.
You know, he had that thing on that was sending brain stimulation.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was awesome. Hey, it's good fire. You know, a lot of people fell in love with Kirk Cousins this season. And goes out with balls.
Did you see the line that he said in there? And I think Kevin Seifert from ESPN retweeted the trailer from the Netflix documentary Quarterback, and literally 20 seconds into the trailer, Kirk Cousins says, if you lose your quarterback, your season's basically done. Something to that effect. It was prescient,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Kirk's got a big brain. And what I know is this Achilles recovery these days,
Yeah.
it's a little different.
That's right.
It's, I don't know what science is saying, but I know there's a 39-year-old guy who's already doing dropbacks and warm-ups and spinning the ball. And this comes after he says, no real progressions. This was kind of a bad week in my rehab. Nothing really happened. Then he gets on the field in the cold, by the way. So it's not just like perfect conditions. Your body, whenever it's cold, takes a little bit longer. Doing a little dropback, spinning that thing. No crutches in sight, obviously, because the universe told him,
right.
you forgot your crutches, you don't need them.
Exactly.
This is what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks afterwards? So, I think Kirk's going to be A-okay because he's going to go to that Achilles factory over there with Elatrosh in L.A., if I had to guess.
There is the hope. There is the inspiration. There is the role model for Kirk Cousins. He's essentially 6-7 weeks ahead of where Kirk Cousins would be on this. And so Kirk can tune into the McAfee Show and listen to what Aaron says and call him up for little tips about how to get back quicker. And hopefully both guys are back as soon as they can be.
We need Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins on a training table next to each other.
Yes,
Now.
we do.
So hey, listen, Peyton, Omaha's in everything.
Yeah.
Get your damn cameras in there. Would love to hear them chit-chat about each other.
Yeah, so have J.K. Dobbins give up his little table next to Aaron.
No. We need J.K. too. J.K.'s the juice in that entire thing. But it does
Get them all in there.
It does feel like the Achilles recovery, and this is just strictly off of one person that we know pretty well.
Yep.
Seems to be different than maybe it was viewed, 6 months ago in my world. And then the Justin Jefferson news was interesting. I don't think I had known that. There was a chance, obviously, and we understand the business side of this whole thing, but it's I didn't know that was even in consideration. Makes a lot more sense that it is, and now there's a massive question mark around it all. There's some other big-time names potentially on the move. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Shefty, going back to the Titans last week, when D-Hop and Derrick Henry were kind of mentioned and it looked like their season might be going down the tubes with Tannehill getting hurt, they were on the table, and we heard the Cowboys and the Ravens for Derrick Henry, and then I don't know about D-Hop, but after they win yesterday, I know the Titans basically said, hey, we're not moving on from these guys no matter what. But is there a situation where you could see either one of them being moved by tomorrow?
Well, I think the answer for any player would be you could see any player being moved for the right price, right? But the Titans have been pretty clear that they don't intend to and don't want to trade them. And now it would be up to somebody to change their mind to see if they could make that happen. They did get calls on Derrick Henry. Dallas was not a team that called on Derrick Henry.
Who was? Anybody sweet? Anybody that would be really sweet that we would like to hear
I'm
from?
sure there were teams checking in to see
Ravens?
If he would be available.
The Ravens?
And so,
was it the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, he would look interesting in purple, that's for sure.
Well, okay.
Yes.
Sounds like the Ravens looked into Derrick Henry. Okay, that's
Bills?
great. Especially because their relationship between the Ravens and Titans, dancing on the logo, coming back doing a big win. Imagine Derrick on that other side, black and purple.
But the fact that, look, the Titans got calls and their plan was not to trade him. Now, if some team comes in and gives them an offer, a big offer, that's fine. But the problem here is this, that Derrick Henry is in the last year of his contract. So a team recognizes that it's trading essentially, potentially, for a rental running back. And he's a 30-year-old potential rental running back. And he's a 30-year-old rental running back who makes a good amount of money that not a lot of teams can accommodate that cap number. So if you're going to trade for Derrick Henry, you have to restructure that contract by 4 o'clock Eastern today, in all probability, to make it such that he can be traded by 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I know we have the 4 o'clock Eastern trade deadline for everybody, but certain players, because of their contractual situations, make it such that the real deadline is 4 o'clock Eastern today to redo their deals so they can be traded by the actual deadline tomorrow. Derrick Henry, in all probability, would fall into that category. That leaves teams 3 hours and 16 minutes to go trade for Derrick Henry and redo that deal if they want to go do that.
What just showed up down there?
Yeah.
What was that? Any
Anything
news?
good?
You get any news right there?
No, I'm looking at the clock and doing the math in my head. 3 hours, 16 minutes.
Oh, okay.
right.
I like that. In the middle of this whole thing. You can compartmentalize that entire thing. What about D-Hop, though? D-Hop, I saw somebody post vintage DeAndre Hopkins. He had 3 tuds yesterday. Obviously, he and Will Levis had a great connection quickly. But that is somebody that had been mentioned in rumors, trades, and there's a lot of teams that would need another weapon. That is D-Hop. But his contract is big, I guess.
Yeah, there are teams calling around on wide receivers, but D-Hop was out there all summer and had whatever he had. Like, there was a reason he was on the street for a long period of time. And so Tennessee, with the connection that he had with Levis on Sunday, 3 touchdowns, he was unbelievable. I don't think they want to take that away from their rookie quarterback when he starts Thursday night in Pittsburgh.
Smart. Tone has a question for you on that note.
Yeah, I do. So is he going to be the starter Thursday night? And then is he also potentially going to be the starter going forward? Or if Tannehill comes back, does he just automatically get the starting job back? And then also down in Atlanta with Heineke and Ritter, what's the situation going forward with those two as well?
Well, I would say with Tennessee, Will Levis came on and lit it up yesterday. And so if he continues to play at that level, I think they'll keep letting him play. But the question is, can he do that on a consistent basis? And we begin to find that out Thursday night. He'll start that game. He will be the starter. Ryan Tannehill will not be back for that game. He had been pushing to be back, but Ryan Tannehill, it was about a 4-week injury when he suffered that high ankle sprain. They had the bye. They had the game yesterday. So the short week this week would have been really challenging. And then the following week would have been 4 weeks. So that would have been, I think, within the realistic time frame for Tannehill to be back. But now Levis lit it up. So does Levis now go into Pittsburgh on a short week and play the way he did? So if he did, and they keep, you're going to keep rolling with that guy. If he doesn't and he doesn't play well, then, we got Ryan Tannehill, who we like, sitting here in reserve. So they're going to have some decisions to make. And I think Will Levis gets to influence how those decisions are made by the way he plays starting Thursday night.
And how about Heineke? Because it was alleged that Desmond Ritter had a concussion, then he was cleared, and then the decision was made to stick with Heineke, much like Stefanski made the decision to not put Deshaun Watson back on the field the week before. How's it look going forward? Because Heineke, we all know, Heineke gets a chance to get in there. Heineke's going to do Heineke stuff.
Baller.
He's going to operate in a fashion. He's probably not going to turn the ball over much. He's not going to put up prolific numbers, but he's going to inspire, lead the boys. Is he the new quarterback for the Falcons, you think?
Well, I think people have been waiting for them to go to Taylor Heineke, and it just keeps being pushed back and pushed back. And Arthur Smith they've been very supportive of Desmond Ritter. I think yesterday was about the fact that he was being evaluated for the concussion. He clears the protocol, whatever. But I think that right now, Desmond Ritter's their guy. They've stood squarely behind him, and they really haven't wavered off that. Now, if Arthur Smith comes out at a different time and says, okay, Taylor Heineke, everybody's, I think, suspected that would happen at some point, and it hasn't. It just hasn't. They keep riding with Ritter. That's the way they've been doing it, and my guess is that's what they'll continue to do until further notice.
Yeah, he's been on our show obviously a lot, and he has been very much like, oh, look at crucial situations for Desmond. Look at this for Desmond Ritter. Yeah, can't do that. Got to get better. It's like they're trying to make him their guy. It's almost like we know what we have with Heineke. Okay, we know what we have with Heineke. We knew that there was going to be some learning curves here. We're going to stick with Desmond Ritter. I don't know if Falcons fans are necessarily as excited.
They're being very patient with him. And they want to see him continuing to play, and they want to see him continuing to grow. And that's why I think when people saw Heineke go there, they thought, well, it's only a matter of time. But that time hasn't come yet. And so they're continuing to stand by Ritter, and that's what they've been doing.
Hey, it's an old school approach.
Yeah.
You know, because nowadays it's, hey, we need this now. We need a decision made now. Back in the day, it was like not as much coverage. There wasn't as much social media. You didn't get a chance to hear how mad everybody was at all times that they are with fan bases. So you could sit through a year or two of a guy learning, growing, throwing picks, making the same mistake, and then hope, you know what? 3 years from now, he's a guy. We got a guy. It's not like that anymore. That would be a very old school approach from Arthur Smith and the Falcons, and it might pay off.
Yeah.
It might be a huge payoff at some point. But the Falcons...
We'll see. I just think the environment and the climate in which these players have to go make their mark, or a coach has to go, it's brutal, because if it doesn't happen right away, they get written off for a long period. It's tough to bounce back from that.
Yes.
Very few people are mentally strong enough or get enough time to be able to bounce back from a bumpy, rocky start. And so that's just the world we live in right now.
Well, speaking of, Darius has a question for you.
The bumpy, rocky starts.
Who are we running off now,
Arizona
Darius?
Arizona Cardinals, out there at 1-7, obviously out of the gates. Kyler Murray, I believe, was a full participant this last week in practice. Any chance he comes back this week or next before that 21-day deadline is up?
Well, Jonathan Gannon said he wouldn't play next week. They play at Cleveland. I've always felt like, you know, when they started that 21-day window, the most logical home date, I believe it's November 12th against Atlanta off the top of my head, if you want to check that. But I think that would be, to me, the target date that Kyler Murray could and would come back. It would be the end of the window. He hadn't practiced all summer coming off that torn ACL. They're happy with the way he's looked. He's run some first-team reps. He's run with the scout team. But last night after the game, Jonathan Gannon was pretty clear Josh Dobbs is going to start Sunday against his former team, the Cleveland Browns, and then that would leave Murray one more week, and I would think that there's a real possibility that that Falcons game would be in play for him.
Okay, and if he doesn't play then, what happens then?
Well, you have to activate him. It doesn't mean he has to play. But they have to activate him onto the 53-man roster, or then he couldn't play this year, and they want to see him play. They want him back out there. So I expect him to be activated. And I think the soonest he would play, and I think it's a realistic date, would be that Falcons game on November 12th. And by the way, they could decide, you know what? We're not comfortable enough. He's not ready. We want to see Josh Dobbs, or we want to see the rookie Clayton Tune, or whatever they decide they want to do. And they can just hold him out. But he's got to be activated onto the 53 by then to have a chance to play again this season.
And if they hold him out and he doesn't play, I think there's like a $26 million bonus. That's injury bonus.
Well,
that
it's
up in flux.
$29.9 million. $29.9 million. But again, they have seemed very eager and anxious to get him back out on the football field. And I don't think that bonus, at least not publicly, concerns or scares them. They want to get him back out there and see what he could do.
Hey, I want to see his ass back out there too.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
One of the last highlight I have of him, what was it, that 2-point play where he ran for 45 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
And made it. It's like he is electrifying. And that Cardinals team, every game, they are in there.
Tough.
Every single game they're playing, it's like, are they winning?
He's an exciting player. You want to see what he can do. And by the way, I think they need to know what he can do on the field in the game, how he fits into this new coaching staff and what they want to do moving forward. Because they're going to have 2 1s and they're going to have some decisions to make. So let's see.
Last question here from Boston Connor.
Yeah, Shefty, how did the weekend go for you after you stole Jalen Ramsey's breaking news that he was going to be starting? And did you also see Jalen said he is a fan of yours, which was a nice follow-up after you so rudely stole his breaking news?
Yeah, you cocked him. We told you were going to do that, too. We literally talked about this last week, but his video was sick.
So sick.
Anyways, go ahead, Connor.
And also, with the breaking news being a topic, do you have any for us here today? Is there anything that maybe as soon as you get off of here, you're going to break that maybe you'd want to talk about now?
Well, you can never predict breaking news. That Jalen Ramsey, the funny thing about it was, I'm sitting there last Thursday night, and, I got a text he's playing. So, I checked in with a couple of people, verified, playing. Yeah, playing. Okay, we're good. Okay, great. And I put out the news and just said he's expected to play. I didn't think anything of it, right? And the next thing I know, I looked at my phone, and there's a DM from Jalen Ramsey. And he said, "You must know something that I don't." And so, I could read it. I could, read it to you right here.
Yeah, you have been good at quoting messages that players have sent to you on this particular program.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? People, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if they bring it up, they want to go public, we go public, right? So Jalen, I said, he said, "Your source must know something I don't." That was at 8:23. By the way, let me also say, I can't stand, I don't like being in public. I'm not a confrontational guy. That's not my nature. I don't like that stuff.
You're an information guy.
I like peaceful I like things to be smooth and easy, right? So I'm sitting down Thursday night. I'm getting ready to watch the Bills and the Buccaneers. I just want to be left alone, right? Like, here we are.
Watching ball.
By the way, you got enough problems in life.
You're telling me Washington Post. Having wings, maybe a water, a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just living.
Right? So anyway, I sit down, I get the news, put it out, and I get a text from him that says, "Your source must know something I don't." I said, "Well, I guess we're going to find out. But in the event I'm right, welcome back. That's a heck of a recovery. Look forward to seeing you on the field, and good luck for a great season." So I think nothing of it. And then I start getting some texts. "Oh, Jalen ripped me on." I'm like, what? So I see that before he sent me that. Yeah.
So this is why I just got a crazy amount of texts. Well, this is news to me. Don't care about being right. They care about being first in today's media. That's sad. Then he follows up. "I'm an Adam Schefter fan, by the way, so I'm mad at him at all for doing his job. I just didn't know." Wow. So it is interesting. I wonder how that decision was made, because Jalen wouldn't double down. Publicly, there's no reason.
I think he just wanted to drop that video.
You think he was pissed that Shefty stole that?
I think Darius is right.
In that BD announcement. And like Shefty said last time, he's one of those players that like to control his own narrative. At the same time, he understands Shefty has a job to do. That video was sick.
I mean, the video was insane.
Awesome.
It was not supposed to be back till December. He's back in October, obviously.
By the way, I didn't mean to rain on his video. That was not my intent. I was just sitting there getting ready to watch the game.
Yeah, I just want everybody to be peaceful. Also, to hell with your video. Anyways, hey, Shefty, we appreciate the hell out of you, brother. Anything we need to know tonight, quick, as we wrap up hour one here for both teams playing?
We got the trade deadline, right? So honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I still think there's a chance, Washington can move one of its defensive linemen. We'll see what Denver decides to do coming off its big win over the Chiefs. First win against the Chiefs in September of 2015, which is wild, right? Like, the last time that Denver won, Peyton Manning was quarterback and Alex Smith quarterback the Chiefs. So that was pretty wild. So we'll see that the Broncos do a thing. The Commanders, I can tell you this, there's a lot of people making a lot of calls, and we'll see what it produces. I don't know right now.
All right. Well, we appreciate the hell out of you. I don't know if we've ever heard that from an insider. That was very humble of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter. I don't know right now. Did you hear that?
Never hear that.
Never hear that.
First time.
No, normally they do know, but can't say publicly. Look at you, Shefty, a little humble pie with those wings while he's watching a little football. Right. Yeah. All right, hour one's wrapping up here. We can't thank you enough for joining us. AJ Hawk will be on the other side. Thomas Morstead, punter for the Jets, will also be here. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. Take three. We're about to break. break some news. Ladies and gentlemen, a franchise has called to its fans to find a new logo for their team. Cleveland Browns said we need a new dog logo. We put an elf in the middle of the field, and people had a little bit of a backlash because we have the dog pound. We are dogs. Now we need a new logo. So they said, hey, any fans want to go ahead and draw one? Go ahead. They have 2 finalists, ladies and gentlemen. One fan created, one internally created. Ooh. And it is now time for the Cleveland Browns fans to learn their fate of the next dog logo. Bringing in the box that will obviously tell us what is the winner is Brownie the Elf.
Wow.
Brownie!
Brownie get here.
Does he talk?
Brownie,
No.
they just staring each other down. I do not believe he speaks. Let's go home.
Stand up, Diggs. Come on.
Drum roll, please! Replacing the elf! Trust me, Johnny, always be a place for you. Always be a place. Sorry, Brownie! Wow! Dog logo. So this is a dog by a dog for the dog.
Hell yeah.
Rated in wheat, Brownie.
Suck it.
Oh, let's go shake their hands.
Oh.
Let's go shake their hands.
Oh!
Truce.
Okay.
Hey, that was fun. See, good AFC North.
Oh,
Brownie said last word. Brownie, in the elf community, how high are you in the hierarchy of elves? At the top.
Not more than Harry Potter.
Whoa. What about the cookie elves? They're pretty hip.
Whoa.
What does a Brownie the elf eat, if you have to guess?
Poop.
What do you eat? I don't know. What do you do?
Brownies.
What is it?
Did Brownie wear the whole situation all the way here from Cleveland, you think, in the car?
What do you mean this is every day? This ain't a situation.
Yeah, he wakes up.
He said this is a costume. AJ said this is a costume, potentially, and you're not an actual elf. That's what AJ said.
No, AJ.
No, not me.
AJ's up
AJ
there.
Hawk.
Right there.
That guy.
Right there.
Flip him off, Brownie.
Yeah, let him know.
Come on, tell him.
Oh! Brownie didn't eat. He eats bugs.
Yeah, he picked your bogies.
Yeah, elves love picking bugs.
Yeah, they big. Is that the second favorite thing he eats, I wonder?
Oh, yeah, because
Bugs.
Brownie's number 1,
Yeah.
bugs number 2.
Bugs 2,
Dog poop around the stadium.
3.
Dog pound.
Yeah. Yeah. For the dog.
He thought he was getting
Dog
into.
pound.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, here we go.
That's not a free throw,
Right in
though.
front of the freak.
Buddies here, Brownie.
Oh, but that's it. You lose.
No.
Stroke.
Oh, the runner.
All right, since you made it on the second one, we'll go 20 people, $500, because
Okay.
Brownie's an absolute baller.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey. What? Let's go. This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, October 30th, 2023. This sports program, Hour 2, starts now. Football! Hey, is happening this evening as the Raiders will travel to Detroit to wrap up Week 8 of the NFL slate. It was a fantastic weekend of football, and we'll talk about it all for the next 2 hours. The next 52 minutes will be live here on ESPN. Then the last hour will continue on YouTube and on ESPN+. What a joy it is to get to do this every single day.
Amen.
What a treat it is to share the stage with the Toxic Table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Oh, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's space on Boston Connor's chest.
Yeah, it's kind of like a depiction of where we all are in the NFL season. We're kind of all space cadets because we have no idea what the hell is going to happen week to week, but that's why it's the best league in the world.
And also, while we're talking about, we're all so small in this thing.
Bingo. Hey, look, I know people live and die with their teams. I have for a long time. You know how small Earth is compared to some of these planets on here?
That's right.
This is only one universe, my friend.
Yeah, but on this particular Monday, like very excited for the overreactions that we will certainly be reading from around the internet in the third hour. So although people maybe realize how small we are in this whole world, these football games on Sunday are very large.
Yeah.
For people's happiness,
Right.
for their mental health,
Right.
for the state of the entire city in which they represent. These teams need to play good football. And there's one particular team that represents a city over there in western Pennsylvania that has certainly allowed another team to come marching into their house, snag their towels.
Whoa.
Okay? Decades and decades and decades and generations of Yinzers have held this little gold towel, to quote, in such high regards that not only is it a birthday present, it's the best wedding gift you're going to get, especially if there's a little personalized. These little gold towels that were founded by Myron Cope back in the day are basically our city's flag. Whenever you show up in a public space, whether it's an airport or another stadium, and you want to know how many other Yinzers are there, you put up the bird call. You just do one of these real quick. And then all of a sudden you look around and you'll see the Yinzers chirping back. These little gold towels, how they were described, pop up all over the place in cities and countries around this planet. And yesterday, old Wingard
Joe Dirt, that son
started snagging them from Yinzers, taking them out of their hands. Give me this. We need another one. Give me yours. Give me. I like the Yinzers smacking them in the mouth. Smacking them in the mouth for sure. And I wish that guy was potentially on the field so that this moment couldn't happen. Kenny Pickett gets hurt, obviously. That's a massive ordeal. Hope his ribs are okay. Trubisky comes in, does Trubisky stuff, throws 2 picks, whatever. Defense does what it does. But how did that happen? One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys turn digs. They're stealing terrible towels out of Yinzer's hands, right in their faces, and marching around Acrisure, the artist formerly known as Heinz Field. What the hell happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tone Diggs?
I hope Joe Dirt, that piece of shit, goes to federal prison for 8 to 10 years, okay? Because
grand theft!
That's thank you. A federal offense. I think anything over $5,000 or something like that is a federal offense. And to us, that towel's worth about that, okay?
Priceless.
Exactly. Just like a old Visa commercial. Priceless, my friend.
And a Visa.
They did that literally and figuratively all day long, okay? They beat the shit out of the Steelers all day long. The score was a little bit closer than what the game actually was because they had to settle for field goals a bunch inside the red zone. Trevor threw an interception in the red zone, which apparently wasn't a good enough turnover, Coach Tomlin said today.
Whoa.
Tony.
What?
No, he's
a little sassy towards Tomlin.
Little
sassy towards Tomlin.
Apparently in his press conference today, he said, we got turnovers, but they weren't good enough turnovers. They weren't turnovers that put our offense in a good enough position. Well, I mean, whose fault is that? The defense or the offense? That stinks. They stink. But no, Trevor played really good. I thought they smashed mouth, beat the shit out of the Steelers yesterday in the rain
they were running right at the Steelers too. By the way, it was a lot of this. They went into Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh weather in front of Pittsburgh people and played Pittsburgh football against the Pittsburgh team and beat them. I mean, that is what happened yesterday. And then they took their towels, ran all over their field, and flew back to sunny Florida. I mean, what a moment in Pittsburgh. Who knows what's going to happen going forward over there. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is joining us all day, Monday through Wednesday. We appreciate the hell out of you, D-Butt. Let's talk about a guy who might have something to say about getting out toughed in your own town.
Yeah, I hope so.
This dude's the president of his town. Literally. He's also college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
I'm not laughing at the Packers. I'm laughing with them. Okay. Wow. Now, I will say a lot of you Packers people were saying a lot of things about me, whenever I was saying some stuff about it's going to good one. I mean, we're forcing a guy out here. Grass is greener on the other side. Is it? Is it? We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. AJ Hall.
Yeah.
AJ, a lot of conversations happening around the NFL right now. And before we dive into them, we have some breaking news. Leonard Fournette is signing with the Buffalo Bills today. I wonder if the Buffalo Bills are looking around to find out who they could potentially trade for or get, and instead they decide to sign old playoff Lenny, Lombo Lenny, and a man who's probably going to show up and do some damage for the Buffalo Bills. Congrats to Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. It's not like we've been talking about how they need to get the ball to James Cook a little more. Yeah, Let's bring in another running back and split his carries up again.
I don't understand why that's a thing.
No idea.
What did he do? What did What did James Cook do is what we would like to know. Did he lose a card game? Did he say something about something?
Did he smell bad? Is
What?
that why they don't want him in the huddle?
You got Latavius Murray. No offense, Latavius. We love you.
Yeah.
Latavius. Love Latavius Murray. 10-year vet. Absolute dog. Running back positions. Been there, done that. But it's like he's taking snaps away from James. And now we got Leonard Fournette coming. Hey, love Leonard Fournette. What a long time.
Yeah.
Now we got him taking snaps away from James Cook. We would just like to know what and how it all went down. But that breaking news aside, AJ, let's go back to the Pittsburgh-Jacksonville game. As a man who's an Ohio folk, how do you feel about that happening to the Pittsburghers? And what does that mean about Jacksonville Jaguars maybe being in a conversation of a team on the AFC side that can go? That's a tough place to play. Going to have to do that later. They proved that they could, no problems asked.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very tough place to play, but how many times do I say it on here? Like, if you go into somebody's house and you beat them, you can kind of do whatever you want for a little bit. You have a little bit of leeway, I feel like, after the game now. If Pittsburgh goes down to Jacksonville and wants to mess with their mascot or steal things from people, if they beat them, yeah, then that's fair. But this is there's a great clip of Wingard too in the tunnel. If you guys watched it too, this dude was juiced up to win this game.
Well, he heard, because Bill Cowher was on this show.
That's right.
And he goes, I heard that little pretty boy with that long hair, little gold doll. What is he talking? That's not a little gold towel. It's a terrible towel. It's going to make it terrible. And then you heard Pittsburgh people start chirping about, the disrespect. It's like, well, the disrespect back in the day with those Steelers teams, much different than the teams currently in Pittsburgh.
Jimmy Harrison was in attendance yesterday, and he looked like I wish he was on the field yesterday.
He's bigger than he's ever been.
Huge.
He was a ball.
Yeah.
He came out yesterday as a ball.
And he was fired up.
Did you see Debo yesterday on the field?
Yes. How could you not see him? Anyone that's within 5 miles of that stadium could see that. He's awesome.
Properly shaved head.
Yep.
I mean, just going out there. And those are the glory days of what that Pittsburgh team is. Debo embodies that, like, hey, tough guy, strong guy, would fight you. Like, that's how it is.
That defense changed the rules.
Had to, because he got, over $1 million worth of fines as they were transitioning this whole thing. And now this team has Jacksonville coming in and beating them. Now, what do you think about Jacksonville? I think Doug Peterson, who I believe is going to be on the program tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You remember, like, at the beginning of last year, after the Urban Meyer situation in Jacksonville, which we don't have to get into, Doug Peterson talked about how he had to re-earn the trust of all the players as a coaching staff. And he was trying to instill his culture, but at the same time, he was trying to, win back the team. And then Trevor Lawrence, is this guy going to be something or he's not? Now, we get a statement victory like that, Week 8 in Pittsburgh. It's like, is this Jacksonville team doing what they were doing last year? And are they going to get even further this year in a stacked AFC, AJ?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Strike.
Look, Jacksonville is an absolute contender. They're a legit team. You have to take them serious now. Trevor Lawrence is taking another step, I feel like. ETN is awesome. Adding Calvin Ridley was a giant thing, I think, that kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But, yeah, look at these conditions, too. You wouldn't think a Florida team could come in and win a game like this in these conditions, could you?
Cold, rainy, windy. The field is going to be ruined for the rest of the year. This field is done for the rest of the year. I don't know when high school state championship starts happening, but when that takes place, field is ruined forever. And I don't think that's good news for the Steelers going forward, but I do think it's great news that Jacksonville was able to get in there and get a massive dub.
Yeah, 4 games. They had a stretch, 19 days. They won 4 games, and then going to Pittsburgh, getting a tough win. They win in different ways. Not always pretty, dropping back, throwing the ball 40 times. Travis Etienne is a weapon on the run game or the pass game. And like AJ said, all those pieces on offense, and then defensively, they're playing better as the year goes on, too. So Jags definitely a contender for sure.
Let's stay in the AFC, AJ. For the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career, he loses to the Broncos. Now, he had the worst flu in the history of flus.
Damn near dead.
They're talking about the Jordan flu game. Okay, we get it. He went through a lot. Shout out to Jordan being a mental warrior getting through that. But with Patrick Mahomes' flu, they're saying
he might get comeback player of the year.
Yeah, bingo. Middle of the season, didn't miss a game.
Are we sure he didn't have
DeMar?
COVID as well? Because that would be the double whammy.
I would assume they tested him for COVID as soon as
I hope
possible.
so.
Yeah.
They definitely did.
Can't have him on the field, risking other people's lives.
Well, especially with how close everybody gets whenever they're tackling. Now, that might be why Taylor didn't come, because Patrick married to Brittany Brittany Taylor handshake, boom, bang, pow, bang. Got flu all over the hands.
Can't
Can't have a chance for that. But the Broncos defense, they made Patrick Mahomes not only look sick, but bad at football yesterday. And the Broncos D showed up for the first time in a long time. What'd you learn from this game, and how do we feel about what they did to Travis Kelce with a nice, it feels like they clamped him and just kind of eliminated him from the entire program. Is that what everybody's going to do, AJ?
Yeah, and D-Butt could break it down even more. But if you look at a lot of these clips, it's 4-man rush. They're dropping back. A lot of times zone coverage, eyes on Mahomes, and that's how you get a couple turnovers and you kind of set the tone for the game. Like Kansas City just kind of seemed out of sorts throughout the game. In Denver, you got to give Russ Wilson some credit, man. The dude is playing pretty darn good, and he looked a little bit like the old Russ at times, I feel like, yesterday.
So we got to give credit to Sean Payton then, right? Because it got real loud over there. It got real loud over there with how bad it was looking at the beginning, and obviously the way he handled some situations and what the team was going to become. Russell Wilson's playing good football again. Now, they're still a team that is 3-5 or whatever. Okay, and it's going to be a tough division, and the AFC is packed. And I don't think any of us are now having expectations of these Denver Broncos being a team that's around in the end. But I think it at least gives everybody a little bit of promise that the Sean Payton era is going to be different than what the Hackett era was.
Because it was loud, both sides of the ball. We talked about Sean Payton, obviously Vance Joseph all year long, but now you're at the halfway mark pretty much, and 3-5 isn't the worst situation. But this team definitely, once you knock off the guy, once you knock off the Chief, you get that monkey off your back. You haven't beat this team in 8 years, even though most of these guys haven't been there, but you beat the big dog. Anybody else they line up against, they definitely feel that they can do the same thing on both sides of the ball.
Let's talk about a team that you love in the AFC, and last night had their best game by far. Justin Herbert looks very good at football. I think he had 15 straight receptions to start, or completions to start the game last night. He didn't look affected by much except for that one snap under center that they did early. He was slinging it.
Yes.
I mean, that is beautiful to watch that ball come out of his hand. And they're doing slow-mos, obviously. And when you're completing 15 straight, you're putting it right where it is, and you're killing. And this guy, Austin Eckler, so undervalued, underappreciated, and a guy that I wish – Jonathan Taylor's all the way back, which is good news. We still lose to the Saints. But Jonathan Taylor appeared to be back. That's good news. But, Eckler was looking for a new team to get traded to. He was looking for a new contract because all he does is score touchdowns. It's literally every game right there. Every game he plays, he ends up in the paint. Fantasy owners know that. Prop bettors know that because he just scores all the time. But remember, there was a time where he was asking to be moved, and allegedly nobody wanted him, and then they gave him hey, we'll give you a $150,000 raise or something like that. I think his contract's up soon, but your Chargers played their best game by far last night. Is this a sign of things to come, or do the Bears...
the
Bears.
Come on! The Bears stink. But at the same time, it is any given Sunday, and people would have probably said the same thing about the Broncos coming into this week. So any given Sunday, you got to show up and go out there and win a game. And they won a game that they were supposed to win. Herbert took care of the ball. Defense played a little better. Eckler looked more electric, looking like himself. This is one of those games, almost like a get-right game on prime time, and now when you show up, I mean, on paper, this team always looked like they can compete and win, so now you just got to build and stack on this. But
I was pretty pumped up about a primetime game being over early. So you pass out, nice. You know what I mean? Just kind of, and as we were all looking at that Sunday night game, we're like, could be an early pass out in that particular game, and it was. And that's not normal in the NFL. Normally, things get backwards, they go a little sideways. Like tonight, we're assuming could potentially be a halftime go-to-bed game.
Hell yeah.
If the Lions play how we expect them to play against this Raiders team, although a lot of football god aura on Max Crosby's side. A football field in Michigan just got named after him because he donated $1 million to Eastern Michigan. So will the football gods bless Max Crosby with a devastating evening, which could wreck this Jared Goff incredible Lions offense with Ben Johnson got coached.
Yeah, I don't think so. First time since 2018 that Ford Field has hosted Monday Night Football. That place is going to be rocking. I expect them to bounce back big.
Is Eminem going to be there? I saw he's in Saudi Arabia.
He's been all over the place. He's been at a couple Lions games already this year, so I'm expecting him there on Monday Night Football.
What if he comes out?
Oh, yeah.
Kid Rock is the mascot for the Lions. What are we talking about?
Kid Rock was not at the fight this weekend.
Because he was getting prepped to be the mascot for Lions.
I hope so. Or if that...
He used to be all over the locker room.
Well, then something happened. Yeah, I thought
the Lions banned him.
So I think the Lions banned Kid Rock. They didn't ban Bob Ritchie, though.
No.
Which is remember because Bob and Kid were having a scene there.
Bob does not speak for Kid, and Kid does not speak for Bob.
We're an NFL show. There's a lot to talk about. AJ hasn't given his take on a lot of the things, so this is kind of going out of the way here. But Ngannou beat Tyson Fury. I watched that fight. Okay, and I understand that Tyson Fury might have threw a couple more of these or whatever, a couple more of these punches, and they landed. Ngannou won that fight.
Yeah.
I was waiting like 6th round, 7th round. I'm like, okay, here's where that boxing cardio that MMA guys haven't been able to really have. You go back to the Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather fight. They were talking about, hey, this is what's going to happen. And then by round 10, it happened to Conor, and he was done. Conor was doing very well for a long time. Then he was done. And all the boxing experts were like, this is how this is going to go. They're not ready for this long of a fight. It's just a different form of cardio. Ngannou never blinked. He got stronger as he got older, as the fight went on. And he had his damn hand. Hey, he had his damn hand like this the entire fight. I don't know why every boxer doesn't do this, but this felt like it was fun to watch. And Ngannou, like, obviously he sat Tyson Fury with that left, but if you look at Tyson, his other eye's black and blue too. I mean, he was peppering him.
Yeah.
And he has the strongest punch recorded ever is what Ngannou, like he has the strongest punch I think ever recorded because how heavy his hands are. He's got Tyson training him. He's got my guy. Hey, Trip Hale, roommate of mine in college, was his strength and conditioning coach, and I watched a couple videos of that. It's like Ngannou's about to take over boxing. Is that what's about to happen, or is there a chance that Tyson Fury was not prepared at all for what Francis Ngannou was going to do? Well, and I know Tyson Fury out of shape is kind of his thing. There was parts of his body that were shaking in a way that I don't think I've seen in the past where I'm like, did he not take this serious? But Francis Ngannou, what a performance, AJ. Did you watch the fight? It was all...
Oh, yeah. As far as like Fury, I know people thought there was all kind of stuff up. Oh, maybe Tyson Fury didn't train like he normally does. Maybe he didn't. But either way, Francis Ngannou looked awesome. In his first like legit real boxing match like this, to take on Tyson Fury with every great boxer that's ever lived in attendance, like over there, they seem to have, the guest list was ridiculous in that whole spot.
Vince McMahon's 4 feet away from the entire thing. Sweet. He's sitting next to Eminem and Mike Tyson, I think, there. And Undertaker was somewhere in the building. Hey. Yeah, you got Cristiano Ronaldo on the other side. I mean, they need to work on I'm not saying anything to anybody. I don't know who's in charge of what.
On the what?
What?
The intros and the whole thing. Like, you got Vince McMahon sitting right there. Yep. Like, just, hey, Vince, how do we make this about 1,000 times better than what it is right now? It was just, they were trying to do too much, like, just doing too much.
Too flashy?
Too
Just
flashy.
get to the fight. You're saying get to the fight?
No, I'm understanding there has to be a show. But, like, the timing of it all was very poorly laid out. Like, they played, I forget what the song, it was a Drake. Started from the bottom now for Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
And they played it for like 7 minutes. And then Francis Ngannou showed up. Like it was just like poorly pieced together.
Not well choreographed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and you got Vince literally sitting right there. Somebody should have just said, hey, Vince, if we could give me the headset.
Yeah, help us.
We'll do this. But that was like my takeaway because they're obviously heavily invested in this. The amount of money they had to spend on it. I hope this continues for these fighters who I think are worth every dollar that they make because they're going in there and they're willing to just get knocked out and see you later for our entertainment. I appreciate you guys doing that. But Ngannou won that fight.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't even... I mean, I'm not a boxing purist, and I don't know if they score like counters and like, well, his technicalities were more professional on what... He elbowed him. Tyson Fury elbowed him at one.
Can't do that.
I mean, it was all right, I'm not getting into it.
It'll be a rematch.
Which then makes you believe, like, so is this all just cooked? And what the next one then? Is the next one going to go the other way?
But there's no way someone's taking a fall. You think anyone would take a fall? Like, people have too much pride to, like, not try to win that thing.
No, I agree, but the judge is just ruling it however the hell they want to. Yeah. Like, hey,
that's been an issue forever. Boxing, like, judging in any sport, I think, is brutal. But, yeah, especially boxing's had issues over the years. No question.
And I very much understand that this is not a good depiction of, like, who won a fight and who lost a fight.
It's not.
But in this particular fight, this was a good way to judge said fight. Because Ngannou never got hit, seemingly. And when he did get hit, he just, like,
ate it.
Didn't even. Yeah. The guy might be, like, phenomenal boxer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
First legit fight, right?
Yeah. Heavy hands.
Heavy.
He's used to get hit with, like, 6-ounce gloves, not 14 or 12, whatever ounce gloves they're wearing.
This is fun.
And he can protect himself with those big old boxing gloves too. Like you can protect yourself big time. Yeah.
Bro, he had his hand right. Like I took one boxing class. The guy would then go on to punch me right in my face and numerous times.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, so I'm not going to do this again. This seems like something I'm going to do virtual reality boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But they say, like, check the phone, right? You should always have, like, a phone. Like, that's how your hand should always be. Like, you're holding your phone up to your head. Ngannou's hand never moved from right here. And then whenever Fury would flip, okay, sweet. Boom. We're just doing this right here. And his elbow was a defense, and his hand was, I'm like, why aren't all... That feels like that's the
strategy right now.
Because he was like, it's tricky, he's awkward, I couldn't get in. It was like, yeah, because you're punching an elbow. Yeah. That feels like good defense. Tyson's in the corner.
Yeah,
I think that probably had a lot to do with it as well. But we talked about it a little bit before the show. It's one of those things where Fury definitely didn't take it serious at all coming in, and like this is like the epitome of like, hey, there's a fighter's chance where you got a guy like Ngannou who is maybe he is he's the pound for pound. He throws the hardest punches in the world. Like it doesn't matter who you are. If you get clipped by one of those, like you're going down. I don't care how good you are. So if you're just expecting to kick his ass or just roll over him, like you get caught, there's nothing you can do.
Not Ngannou's fault, by the way. How serious Fury takes it.
No,
that's not Ngannou. That's not. And if he did, and if he didn't, or whatever. But they're setting up for more fights, and it was. I became a much larger Ngannou fan after that fight than of Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
with how it all went, and Ngannou telling a story about how Tyson was telling him. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to take you to school today or whatever. And then he's dancing over top of him, telling him he's a terrible professor after he knocked him down. Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That Ngannou's not worried or stressing at all. He's actually figuring out, all right, what shit can I talk to him after I knock him down? Never seemed to waver. All ex-boxers did the judging. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
So for the good of boxing.
It's not biased at all.
That's what we want. Isn't that what you normally want, though? You want judges that have done it?
Maybe.
I think I would, yeah. That would be, and then as you're like hearing like, oh, this is ex-boxers doing the judging, it's like, well, they're potentially gonna want to
lean one way.
Was this
lean towards the natural boxer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you heard Mark Kriegel, I think is his name, he's like, I've met him at NFL Network, but I think he's like a boxing purist. People are talking about how nobody gave Francis Ngannou a chance. Listen to that. Listen to his open that he did in the intro. He calls this a sideshow, and like this is an appetizer for the main event that is Fury and Usyk or whatever. At the end, like the way he talked about like Jake Paul getting into boxing and like basically he talked about the state of boxing being in a bad place and how this is the sideshow became the main event. He said in there was one of the lines, and then he talked about this fight being a nothing fight, but people love it pretty much. And then you watch the fight kind of unfold. It's like,
wait a minute,
buddy,
sideshow,
buddy, you boxing people.
Yeah,
I don't know, And then Jake Paul obviously had his moment where he was like, "Oh, the MMA guys aren't good boxers, huh? That's what That's what I've been told this entire time when I'm knocking people out." It was a great time. I'm happy the fight happened. Happy for Francis Ngannou, and Ngannou, good luck becoming the boxing heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the NFL because there's a couple games we haven't chatted about, which is so disrespectful. I'm tired of it.
No more.
Okay.
I'm sick of this. I even said it.
Who's it disrespectful to?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I said this yesterday on the internet.
Oh.
I'm tired of people disrespecting the Seattle Seahawks.
That's right.
Okay, all Pete Carroll and Geno Smith do is win games. Mm-hmm. And what did we do whenever we were talking about Myles Garrett's coming in there dressed up like something? It's Halloween weekend. We didn't know it was going to be Mr. Jeeper.
No, we didn't.
We had no idea it was going to be the Jeeper Man.
Yep.
Jeeper Man, scaring you onto the can. Yep. Poop your pants when you see that man. Jeeper Man, Jeeper can. Yeah, when he showed up, we're like, damn, Myles Garrett's about to do this whole thing in Seattle. That's not how the Seahawks have been. There's the Jeeper Man.
Yep. Wow, scary.
Jeeper Man.
Is that like from a movie or?
Scary.
Jeepers.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers, dude. The Jeeper Man.
Yeah, the Scarecrow
I
guy.
thought it was a flying thing.
No, I don't think he flies. He's on Earth and he's killing you.
And
that's what I thought was going to happen with Jeeper Man showing up with Seattle.
Okay.
But we all forget. We literally do because it's so far away. Seattle's so far away up there. Way up there. Way over there.
So far.
It's Canada. Yeah. It's over there.
That's Utah.
No offense to Canada.
None taken. Beautiful place.
They win.
Yeah.
Yep. Pete Carroll and Geno Smith win games.
Yes.
They're in every game. They're in the lead right now, NFC West.
Yeah.
Once again, in the middle of the season, they are in the lead of the NFC West. Last year, they had the number one offense in the entire NFL through the regular season after trading away Russell Wilson, and everybody thought they were mailing it in. And I put out a tweet saying, listen, not enough people talk about Seattle Seahawks, especially on afternoon talk shows. And, I had the big swagoo tell me who you talking about, because I guess NFL Live does a lot of chit-chat about it. I was talking about us. We never talk about the Seahawks. I do apologize. All these dudes do is win. And Jackson Smith and Jigba is a great weapon that they've added to that squad, let alone Walker, who's just so fast, seemingly, in their uniforms. Awesome. I mean, we got to talk more about Seattle, AJ. How come you refuse to talk about the Seahawks and how great they are, Mr. Hawk?
Yeah, I guess I've been silencing all of our talk of the Seahawks. You guys try to bring it up, and I'm just always trying to shoot it down. I guess that's how it is. But you're right. We didn't give them a whole lot of we didn't give them a big chance to win this one. We were all hyping up Cleveland, saying how great their defense was and how they could pound the rock and everything. And Seattle finds a way, man. It's a tough place to play. We all know that, but still. Credit to them. Credit to Geno. 2 picks, and he still is able to bounce back and still have a hell of a game and win.
Yeah, mental toughness at an all-time high for Geno. He's obviously had a long career that has had a lot of things happen to him at different spots. But him and Pete Carroll, and here's a great winner. Boom. Give me that scoot, throw the ball. I'm so cool. He also had a handshake with Jones from the Browns from whenever they were back at Ohio State.
Yep.
That was a really cool handshake.
Yeah.
I think Jackson Smith and Jigba probably a really cool dude. I don't know him personally.
He needed that.
But this team's filled with these guys.
Oh, yeah.
What do we not know about the defense of Seattle that maybe makes them a contender? Is that a weakness or greatness for them?
Love the offense, obviously. Tyler Lockett's always going to be Tyler Lockett. Want to see more out of DK and Jackson Smith. Big play for him, though. But the defense, especially secondary-wise, on paper, they are probably the most talented, deepest group on paper when everybody's out there.
In what? The entire NFL?
In the entire NFL. Wow. Jamal Adams.
Jeez, we never talk about that.
I didn't know that.
And we haven't had a big enough sample size with them all out there, but Jamal Adams, when he's healthy, he's a weapon around the line of scrimmage and pressuring quarterbacks.
He had a pick yesterday, right?
He batted off his head.
Off his helmet.
And Love went up and got it. Safety that came over from the Giants. He's a dog. Trey Brown is playing outside, incredible. Tariq Woolen, Devon Witherspoon, Quandre Diggs, who's been one of the best free safeties in the league for some years now. And then you got Bobby Wags back in there as well.
Kobe
up front. Yep, up front they could be a little better with pass rush. Just lost one of their best pass rushers, I think, for the year. But they got a collective group on defense that can get after you, especially in that secondary.
Hey, Seahawks, we apologize. Okay?
Sorry, Seahawks.
It's on him mostly, but also probably a little bit on me.
Boy,
if I had to
Maffe's
guess.
getting after him.
Yeah, and they added Frank Clark.
Yeah.
Their guys, they were buying at the trade
This is
deadline.
2 years in a row now, or Carlos Dunlap 2 years ago maybe. They made this similar move where it's like, hey, you need to get a guy, need to get to the passer, and it feels like they're doing the same thing with Clark. It's like always active. Pete Carroll's always electrifying, and they're always in games. Feels like it would be good for sports media fodder. I don't know why you guys always say we shouldn't talk about it. Is that you guys that say it?
It might be. As a Packers fan, I've kind of hated the Seahawks for quite some time now. But I think the bigger thing is, even though Geno won comeback player of the year last year and played incredible, like he hasn't played to that level this year so far, and I think he kind of just gets shuttered away in terms of like when people are talking about elite quarterbacks. So people kind of just discount Seattle no matter what, but they do. And then on Monday you look at the box score or whatever. If you didn't watch the game, it's like, oh shit, Seahawks won again. And yeah, for them to be 5-2 right now and have a half game lead in their division with the how the Niners have looked, outside of the last 3 weeks, like we should be talking about Seattle more.
That's Geno needs to stop turning the ball over in the red zone. I feel like he throws a red zone pick almost every single game.
Had a big one against the Bengals too.
Yeah, if he stops doing that, their record would be a lot better.
Let's talk about another team in the NFC. And this is going to be a fun one.
Uh-oh.
AJ, there's a team that you're the all-time leading tackler for. You know that team? You ever heard of them?
Yeah, Green Bay Packers had a tough one yesterday.
Oh, you talking about Curly Lambeau squad? Oh, out there in the middle of beautiful Wisconsin where it gets cold, and obviously NFL folklore is kind of born there. Is Steve Sable and the frozen tundra and everything with the Packers. It's historic. It's a legendary program and franchise, and they've been blessed at the quarterback position, obviously, for a very long time. Now, Gutekunst has his opportunity to run a team and find his team, how he would want to shape it, and continue to carry the torch of this franchise that is worth so much money, doesn't have an owner, and will sell out everybody else's stadium whenever they come to town because of how great their fan base is. Aaron Rodgers is too old. Don't like dealing with this hippie. Hard to get a hold of him whenever he's out there. We need to move on. Even though we've been to the NFC Championship a couple different times, we're going to trade up, get the next quarterback. Let's start the process of moving on, just like we did with Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers. Let's do this. Now we're sitting in the time where it's Gutekunst's baby. The coach that he hired, LaFleur. The quarterback he drafted when he traded up is now the quarterback. The free agents that they brought in, his free agents. The wide receivers, his free agents. Now, they won't give the damn ball to Aaron Jones, seemingly. I don't know why that is. But he brought in A.J. Dillon. This is their team now. This is the next generation of the Green Bay Packers. Tough one to the Vikings yesterday. And it feels like the vibes from you Packers fans are at an all-time low right now. Is that accurate? And how do we get out of this? And what does the future look like?
Yeah, all-time low for sure. I go into Sundays now where it's like I'll still watch the games, but like the expectation is that the Packers are going to lose. The game's going to be incredibly boring, and it's going to be very, very frustrating. 5 weeks in a row now where they haven't scored a first-half touchdown, which is just insane. I don't know how the hell that happens.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's
your offenses have always been good.
They have always been
Green
good.
Bay, they've always
long time.
Offense has always been very good. It's always like the other side.
Always been good. And then again, I feel like such an asshole.
Wait, Aaron Nagler told me. What do you? He told me. What do we mean?
Well, that's
what did he tell you?
People.
Well, he said that Gutekunst got a vision and all this stuff, and me questioning whether or not Gutekunst was a great GM or not. Still wondering if he's great and having the opportunity to prove it. I got slaughtered by Packers fans for wondering if maybe this decision doesn't work out, how will everybody be judged over there whenever they were the ones forcing that old hippie out of the building? And remember, I'm just saying that because we obviously carry the water for Aaron Rodgers and everything like that. But this is real. This is now their team. This is Gutekunst's era here that is going to be judged. Do we think it gets back into good graces? Do we think it turns around? Do we understand this is going to be a transition era where maybe things weren't going to go as well? Is that not the expectations of Packers fans anywhere?
I think part of the problem was maybe my expectations coming into the year because you looked at the division and then how Love played the first couple weeks. It's like, hey, there's no reason this team couldn't go 9-8. Or 10-7 and squeak into the playoffs. But I think the bigger issue is you just from where Jordan Love looked those first couple weeks of the season to what he's looked like the last 5 weeks. Like it's a completely different guy. I mean, if I have to watch one more time where they're down by 14 points or 17 points in the third quarter and it's 3rd and 16 because they ran it up the middle twice on first down and lost 6 yards when Aaron Jones isn't on the field, and then Jordan Love just drops back and throws it into 8 guys and throws a pick, and then on defense, doesn't matter who they're playing, they run it down their throat right away, get down into the red zone, and then score a touchdown. Like Jordan Addison, same deal. He's a rookie, and obviously he's a stud, but Jair Alexander, who's supposed to be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, who they paid all this money to, Addison just gave him the business all day yesterday. Like they just again, it's one of those things where how many times since we've been doing this show have I come in and talked about how the defense sucked and how they do the same thing week after week after week after week
and
after
on
week
and
on and on and on and on and on and on. Shout out Bob Parsons. And nothing ever changes. And it's the same thing. Like, and then they won't get rid of the defensive coordinator. LaFleur just goes up to these press conferences every Monday, and he's like, we're in a bad spot right now. It's like, well, you're the head coach, pal, so figure it out and try to change things. But I think that's the biggest issue is they're so young. They still don't have an identity almost halfway through the season here. And going into the season, it was always, hey, you can't put everything on Jordan Love's shoulders. Like this guy, he's not Rodgers, okay? Like he's going to need some time to kind of get into this. And it's the same deal. He's thrown 42 passes every week. He's completing lower than 50%. And then they're so young, they don't have guys who can really make plays when they need to. And you mentioned Aaron Jones. It's like he's healthy, but he gets 8 touches a game. Like I have no idea what the hell they're doing. I really don't. And to your point about like, hey, does this get better moving forward? Like we're past the kind of cake part of the schedule. Like that was when you look at it in the preseason going into the year. It's like, hey, if the Packers can win 4 or 5 games before they get to this kind of tough stretch, they'll be okay, and they'll put themselves in a spot where they might be able to make the playoffs. These next 5 weeks, there's a very good chance they go 0-5.
Well, I don't like to hear that, obviously, for the Packers fans that are very faithful, very loud, and murdered me this past offseason loudly. All the blogs were just like, amplifying it.
Oh, yeah.
Look what this idiot had to say.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he loves Aaron Rodgers so much, blah, blah, blah. Just would like an update. Just like an update on all of it. And it can all change. And I feel like we have covered the Packers as fairly as possible because I became a massive fan of the program, the tradition, the organization. They sell out every stadium they play in. That is a powerful brand. And I felt, obviously, but it's getting ugly over there, AJ, for the team that you're the all-time leading tackler for, pal. You hear that? He's negative. Very negative. I don't think he's the only one, AJ.
Yeah, I get it. And Green Bay fans are the nicest and coolest fans there are, but I'm sure they are very frustrated right now. And the problem, they're 2-5.
Yeah.
They're 2-5, and we're looking at if they lose these next two games. I mean, see ya. Like, what do we pack it in? You got to plan your postseason vacations because you know you're not probably going to the playoffs. That's the scariest part right now is thinking that, hey, if they don't turn this around right now, the season's going to be gone.
But whole nother offseason, continue to build. You learn what it is. You know what I mean? Jordan Love's first season. Let's give him a little bit more time.
Yeah. But if you get, like right now, I think they have the 6th pick in the draft.
We wanted to clap for you. We were ready to clap for you.
But if they get a top 3 pick, like, do you have to consider taking a quarterback?
What?
I'm not saying it's all his fault, but also, like, I think you have
to. 1,000%. If you're that bad that you earn a top 3 pick, I think quarterback usually, unless that quarterback got hurt,
if they
that's
get
why
a
you're
top
here.
5 pick, they need to fire everyone. Every coach on the staff right now, except for maybe Rich Bisaccia, needs to be fired.
I like that.
Whoa!
Heard it from the Packers owner.
Speaking on that note, to bring you maybe a little positivity, it is being reported that Iowa offense coordinator Brian Ferentz is not expected to return next year.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm holding out hope. I don't know if I buy that.
All right. Listen, we're not calling for everybody's job, but that's certainly could bring some
allowed to fire your offense coordinator?
No, he is resigning. They are not firing him.
Oh, okay.
So he is allegedly stepping down.
Anyways, the Packers fans were very excited to get Aaron Rodgers the hell out of town and move into this next generation, this next era with Jordan Love and Gutekunst's vision. And, you know, Gutekunst had it all figured out before this season. Certainly this year he's going to have to do a little bit of work to make it get better. But we love the Packers, and we appreciate Jordan Love. Not his fault, the situation he was dropped into, so we hope they figure it out. We also don't know how, Aaron's old now.
True.
He's 39. Who knows how he would play. Now, warm-ups, he looks good.
He does.
He looks very, very good. And it feels as if the team that he plays for this year is going to get some wins.
Yeah.
And maybe there's going to come a time where old Aaron Rodgers can come back and lead them to the promised land because the weapons around him are in abundance. The way they're going to win games, defense.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
So good.
So stingy, so strong. And special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, a man who taught me how to punt had not only the game of the day yesterday, but maybe the best game a punter has had in decades. Ladies and gentlemen, out of SMU, an actual genius who's now a meathead who punts balls for the New York Jets. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Morstead.
What's up, Pat? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, great to see you. I see across your shirt there, legendary. What a legendary day yesterday, Thomas. Okay, let's dive in. Weather, kind of rainy, a little bit chilly. Why do you think yesterday you were murdering the ball and had so much control on it versus maybe some other days where the ball doesn't do exactly what you tell it to do?
Well, sometimes when the field gets wet and soggy, the ball doesn't check as hard each way. And, the defense has been playing so well. They've been telling me to be aggressive. And they said, hey, if you hit a touchback, we'll live with it. They still got to go 80 yards. So be aggressive. And we've already gotten 2 safeties off of punt field position this month, and they've just been telling me to keep being aggressive. And sometimes you gotta
look at that.
You gotta talk a little dirty to the ball and just tell it what to do. And it was it listened yesterday, so it was fun.
Hell yeah, it was spicy down there. You talk a little dirty to that ball, it would do some spicy stuff for you. I mean, you had 3 balls inside the 5, 2 coffin corners, 1 that just settled in its zone. The amount of text messages I got from people, not just Jets fans, but everybody like, have you seen what Morstead's doing? Have you seen what Morstead's doing today? 23 total punts in the game, 11 from you. Obviously, those 3 are going to get highlighted, but you had some bombs as well. Whenever Aaron goes down and Zach is your quarterback, and I know you've been on a team with Zach with the Jets, and we all have massive respect for him, but do you understand and realize, like, okay, my job, I'm going to have to do a little bit better now because we're a defensive-heavy team, and that's like a little bit more pressure, or how do you view it going in each week, Thomas?
Look, I think a lot of guys this offseason signed with kind of the caveat of, being teammates with Aaron and having a chance to go win a championship. And so when he went down, that was devastating for the team. And, we had to all, I think, acknowledge that, that happened and that he's not our quarterback right now. And guys have hung in there, and it's been a lot of fun to punt for a team that's defense is just balling. And, I wouldn't trade any of my years in New Orleans, but we kind of averaged about like 2 punts a game in my 12 years there. So it's been a lot of fun. I think we're leading the league in number of punts, and we've been attacking, and the defense has been making us right. And so just to be playing that sort of complimentary football that coaches talk about, we're actually doing it. And I could say we've had a hand in all 4 of our wins this year, not only on punt team, on punt return. Special teams have been awesome. Greg Zerline's been balling as well. We just have a crew of guys that believe that, and we're doing it week in, week out, and it's exciting to be a part of.
Shout out to that barbarian Brant Boyer too, the special teams.
You stole my line, Pat. I was going to tell you the barbarian said hello. So
this guy used to be the wedge buster. This dude was the wedge buster for the Jacksonville Jaguars for like 11 years, 12 years. We're talking old school days.
He's a total stud, and he's one of the main reasons I decided to come back. Had a few other options this year, and playing for a coach like him who wears his heart on his sleeve, you always know where you stand. He's got the highest standards, and he's just an old ball coach that loves his players. Man, look at that young coach right there. Man, look at that guy.
Yeah,
I love playing for him. He's the best. And when you have a coach that believes in you and is telling you to be aggressive, it's just a lot of fun to be a part of that.
I think he's from Utah.
Really?
I think.
Go Utes?
Yeah.
I think so. No, he went to Arizona, but I think he's from Utah. We were just out in Utah. Place is beautiful. But yeah, absolute dog over there. Love to see you guys doing your thing. And I love that they're encouraging you to do your thing. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, on those lines, I was wondering, how much does that free you up when you feel like, hey, the defense trusts me, they say we don't care if it's a touchback, we'll make it work, and your special teams coach, does that free you up as a punter? Like, man, I can make this thing land wherever I want.
Well, I think there's 2 ways to answer that. Number one is, yeah, look, when you feel like you're playing in these type of field position type of games, and the defense going 80 yards on them's tough, and they're saying, hey, listen, if you can pin this thing at the 5 or the 6 or the 4, we're thinking we're going to score, and they're telling you that. It just allows you to be more aggressive. And who doesn't? I don't care what position you play in sports. When you're going for it and you're not playing it safe, every player wants to be in that position. It doesn't matter what job you have. And so it's just a lot of fun to be a part of that. And so, yeah, it's been cool. A few weeks ago, Coach Saleh, in the media was asked about it, and I joke that he kind of gave me permission publicly to be a little more aggressive, because he just said, we like it that Thomas is being aggressive and he's putting us in those positions. So it's exciting. And, to be doing this in my 15th year and being the old guy in the league at my position now, it's kind of been a full circle deal for me from just my injury 3 years ago and getting back in. It was hard to get back in, and seeing that side of the business was really tough, and being on a few different teams and bouncing around, it feels like I've kind of found a second home up here, and just enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, guy got drafted in the 4th round, signed like a 8-year deal with the Saints, I think, at one point, because how consistent you were the model of consistency whenever it came to punting. You were the guy that taught me how to punt. So I will always be forever indebted to you.
I appreciate you, dude. And, I couldn't make it as PFF's number 1 punter of the decade in the 2010s, but I was happy to take number 2 behind you. So, it's been an awesome career, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna keep rolling with this thing as long as I can. I'm having so much fun with it, and it's fun to be competing. There's so many special talents in the league now. Better than anybody. There's a bunch of guys that can absolutely hammer footballs, and to be competing with these guys and being valuable to the team is just nothing like it.
We were drafted in the same class. I've been nominated for the Hall of Fame twice now. You got to be retired for 5 years to have that happen. And as soon as you retire, you'll go in. Probably there's guys now. Shane Leckler has to go in.
Shane's going in.
Has to go in. Shane has to go in. Cypher's even in the conversation. That guy. Cypher's was phenomenal for a long time. But Thomas, Johnny Hecker, I think is going to be in the conversation. Whenever. But you are a guy who is giving back to the punting community, and now you're in the big city playing your best game.
wow.
All these people, that have never paid attention to punting are sending. I get it. Greeny was tweeting about. I don't know.
Yeah.
McAfee, is this the best punting game of all time, McAfee? What the hell is this? And then you have like TV executives who have never seen a punter ever. They are trying to get to a commercial break, sending text messages like, "Are you watching what this guy is doing?"
Unbelievable.
It's like, yeah, he's been doing this for 15 years though. This guy is phenomenal, and I think everybody understands how lucky they are to have you on the team now. And what a weapon! Who are you talking to there? Anybody sweet in the background?
That was my boy Hardy over there. He's getting healed up for a late season push. He's been an elite gunner in this league. Made his first Pro Bowl last year. We were together in New Orleans. Another reason why I signed back here. He's just a special teams demon. And man, we got some guys playing up here. Big Irv is balling. Hopefully, we'll get him back this week. It's just fun, man. When you've got guys all over the field that are doing their job at a high level, it allows everybody to kind of play aggressive and it just synergizes. So it's fun.
Hey, when you watch Aaron just walk around without crutches, do you think he's an alien like I'm thinking as well after this Achilles thing?
Let me tell you, it's like a hope thing. Every day, every week you see him out there. He's done another week of rehab, and all of a sudden he's doing a little something new, and you're like, wow, this sort of unrealistic prediction that he's coming back this season. There's a hope there, and I think guys love seeing it, man. It's inspiring to see him out there, and I think we just got to keep hanging in there and keep finding ways to win. You can already see the story how this thing could end, and it's exciting just to even think about it. It's too good. It's too good of a story. You can already see the ending, and it's just exciting to see him out there every week. I think it gives the guys a lot of hope about what could be.
That's what Salah said. Salah said his presence is just needed. He's telling them like, hey, we need you around more, pal.
Listen, that's why I got this mustache rolling. When he went down, and all of a sudden that the old white guy in the locker room with the mustache left, I said, I need to fill in and fill in. And you know what? It's been working, so I'm going to keep it. My wife hasn't forced me to shave it yet, so we're going to keep letting it roll.
Hey, this might be the new you, pal. You look good with that thing. And
I'm gonna roll with it as long as it's working.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw those balls check up yesterday. I think the football gods are blessing from the mustache gods. Last question here from Ty for you, Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas, I know you guys have had a few injuries on the D-line, and based on the fact that you split time between punter and playing quite a bit of D-line when you were in New Orleans, have you been, working in with the D-line at all? Are we going to expect to, see you on the field on Sunday or getting any reps in practice with those guys or what?
Yeah, look, I pride myself on being a team guy, and so I don't get a ton of reps, but, I told them if they need me to shoot the A-gap, I'm ready. Just whatever they need. I can run a fly. I'm not. Pat's seen me run. The side-to-side movement is below average.
But
I'm more of a. I'm like a locomotive. It takes me a little bit of gas to get up to full speed. But I hit 20.8 on the old.
Wow.
So not too bad for 37 years old. Training in the weight room as hard as ever, and so anyways, I'll do whatever they ask me to do. So.
And we're referring to you in a 4-point stance after the Minneapolis Miracle against the Saints, where you guys had to field a team for the extra point after the heartbreak, and you were right there, number 6.
Ready.
In the A-gap.
That tells you, that picture right there tells you that the athletic ability is not quite what you would hope it would be.
No! What are you talking about? Low man wins. Low man wins.
Listen, when I walked out there for that, Case Keenum was out there doing the Viking chant. He said, listen, Thomas, we're going to take a knee. And I said, mother effer, you better. I'm not about to get lit up by one of your – look, his center is he's staring right at me.
Could you imagine Case going, check. Quarterback dive right over top of you.
Check, A block on number 6. There we go. Double team.
Thomas, you're a beauty, pal. I'm happy the world is seeing your greatness right now, and I'm happy you're continuing to represent for the 2009 draft class. Thomas's legs come up to about right here on me.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So whenever he gets running and those things start going, you're an athlete. Stop selling yourself so short. An incredible game yesterday, pal. They're going to need you the rest of the way.
Thank you, buddy. Pat, I just want to say, man, as always, you are inspiring so many people. You've followed your heart to do something that a lot of people talked a lot of shit about. And you've told me, I remember when you were drafted, you said what your dreams were. And I thought, this guy's absolutely this is crazy. None of that's going to happen. And you've made it all happen. And you're just a case study and listening to yourself and following your heart on what you want to do. And you've gone out and done it, man. It's awesome to see. Keep doing it. You inspire a lot of people. And keep ascending, man. It's super cool to see.
I love you. Don't ever do that again, but I appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen,
all right, buddy.
Thomas Morstead. You too. Love you too, man. Yeah, Thomas actually taught me how to punt. Funny story. Like, I was a kicker, and I went out to their camps. Him and Jamie Cole run these camps together, have for a long time. I never went to kicking camps. Never been a friend with a kicker, So, like, it wasn't really my thing. I was a football fan, played soccer, but I got along mostly with the meatheads. That is normally the crew that I hung out with was the meatheads no matter what. So then in college, I never went to a kicking camp. It was always just me doing this thing. Connor Lee, who was the kicker for Pitt, was like, hey, we got to get you this kicking camp out in Wisconsin or wherever. I'm like, I'm not going to a kicking camp.
No thanks.
I am so sorry. I'm not doing that. Connor's like, need to have you out there. Okay, it's a lot better. And I get out there. Everybody was so cool. Everybody was so nice. And I saw Thomas Morstead on the field doing something with a football that I thought I was the only person that could do, how far he was hitting. And I was like, oh, there's another one out here that I guess can do that. And at that point, I wasn't a punter. I was just a kicker. And then I get drafted. And it's like 1 month before training camp starts. I'm out there at Wisconsin with them at their camp. And I'm like, hey, Thomas, listen. I need to learn how to punt within the next couple weeks. So is there any way tomorrow you can, and for 2 hours the next day, we literally were on a field and he just walked me through the basics of it with Jamie Cole. And they're the only reason why I survived that first year. And then we see each other in the Super Bowl and he kicks an onside kick to start the second half and wins the whole thing. I said, Thomas, I hate you. I hate you, Thomas Morstead. But he is legend, been doing it a long time, very intelligent. Like when he's done with this, he'll go on to change the world. But I'm happy that the Jets fans are recognizing it. And also the run after the field goal thing that was on Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Sweet.
He's sweet, dude. He's sweet. Anyways, our show will continue on YouTube and ESPN Plus. We have TJ Lang, formerly of the Detroit Lions and the Packers, joining us in the third hour to chit-chat about Monday Night Football. We'll see you tomorrow with Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice about changing their life. Nailed it. Right at the
Let's go.
Atta baby.
Hot bat. Boom.
It is a hot bat. That's 2 days in a row.
I mean, I'd go on record and say 2 weeks.
No, there was a day or two where I got caught up.
Last week?
I think JJ might have messed up one.
No,
They went
JJ
right
had
into
a
the-
good one.
Yeah,
I think Aaron had a one where he was out right on the.
Oh, yeah, JJ ended a story right at the time.
I think this is going into week 2 of a hot bet.
Hey, look at us.
Huh?
I think.
Speaking of hot bats, hey, will you put up the record we had of picking games this weekend? Look at this hot bat.
Here we
You want
go.
to talk about hot bats?
Yep.
Now we're talking.
Buddy, 3-11-1. I'm like, hey, Q.
Sheesh.
I'm like, hey, Q.
Tough week.
Hey, you should have seen me, my college slate. Similar.
No.
Similar. I had a bad weekend projecting. And AJ, we got a close one tonight, pal. We got a close one tonight, pal.
Yeah, we do.
Do we know
who you're going to pick? We'll see at the end of the show, I guess, who you're going to pick.
We will. AJ, we need to get better, though. Okay?
Hey, how do you predict anything in the NFL right now? For real. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the rest of the season will go this way, but man, it's so tough to predict these things.
Let me tell you, Steve Smith had a much better day than both of us, but he was nowhere near like a successful day. Obviously, the NFL is absurd. College, AJ? College? So not only the slate, but then I had to make projections of my top 6 right now if I had to make them. And then the team that I went out on a limb for to put over a couple other teams just goes ahead and shits the bed, loses, see ya. And then the team that I was like, I don't know, they end up having the best game that they've had. So not only do I say like Utah, they never lose at home. Dan Lanning joins the set. First time in a way coach has ever done that. Like very thankful for Dan Lanning. Like what a good guy. Yeah, I end up on fucking free anytime. Anytime you're on there, it's not great news. But it's like, buddy, everything you think you know is like not the case, which is why football is so damn wonderful. And we are in the middle of a season right now where a lot of things are going to be earned. In college, Reese Davis says November is where championships are won in college football. It's like we're getting right in there right now. We think we know who's potentially going to go, but we have no idea. Injuries could pop up, teams could get hot, defenses could maybe steal a game from a team that we never could have expected. And then the NFL, it's like trade deadline is tomorrow. Who's going to make some moves? We think we know who the teams are going to be, but we have no idea. It's a beautiful time.
Unbelievable.
It is a beautiful time right now. Let's enjoy the hell out of this.
Sports equinox. We mentioned this before the show today. Today is the sports equinox. It never happens. Really.
First time this year where all 4 major leagues will have games. Let's go.
That's all.
Football.
What?
Baseball.
What?
Hockey.
What?
Basketball.
What?
I'm a coach of the Utah Jazz, by the way.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Tough one.
Congrats.
Tough one coming up.
Yeah, we've had a lot of tough ones. You know, we're a team. We're certainly a team.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the middle of doing this thing. Me and Ryan there, though, that guy is incredible. I didn't know much about him. Okay, I had no idea. No offense to Utah. I have not paid attention to Utah before this past weekend. I will now be paying a lot of attention to the entire state of Utah. Already told my wife we need to buy skis because we got to go do what they do out there because we need to figure out reasons to go out there.
Sure.
Amen.
It is beautiful out there, AJ. I would like to get back as soon as possible. And I guess if it's, trying to die on a mountain is how you got to get back there, I will do it.
Yep.
I will certainly do it.
Some safe trails. I mean, you're an athlete. I think you can figure it out.
I'm there for the après ski because I do believe everybody I met out there was super sweet, but I also wouldn't mind getting in there and doing this whole thing.
You figure it out.
Right, I hope so.
You would fly.
I would love to see you try. I would love to see you go skiing. With all the equipment, all the boots, everything would be amazing.
Oh, you're saying I'll be real pumped about it all. I'll really,
Those knees.
I've only done it for 30 minutes, and it was a haul. There's a lot to it. I guess I had 4 kids trying to tag them into it too, and we all were trying for the first time. But yeah, it'd be fun. Get your little daughter on some skis.
You said pizza? You ski?
Yeah. Well, no, I went for a weekend with Vontae and the crew.
How was it?
Great.
Look, that's me on rollerblades.
You said pizza?
Oh, yeah, like the little
pizza pizza French fry, brother.
Yeah, pizza French fry.
That guy won a costume contest in Morgantown, West Virginia.
No big deal.
Also, only fell twice. Morgantown's like this. Morgantown's like this. I was on rollerblades from 8 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Okay? So you tell me.
Too far?
You tell me if that guy could ski or not. 2 of them.
Yeah, then you're fine.
One was on a dance floor. I was really getting it.
That's going to happen.
And then whoom. And then one was outside. Hit one of these. Tried to do the drag.
Sure.
Hit a rock. We're down.
Yeah.
That's middle of football season. Once again, need to be more mature if I could go back in time and say, hey, Pat, we got a real opportunity here. Maybe we're not on rollerblades in the middle of fucking Morgantown for 6 hours while also potentially digesting,
That wasn't like that wasn't the regen plan. These guys regen the second the game is over. That wasn't part of your plan?
Yeah, we didn't get any IVs like Patrick Mahomes had. They said he had IVs all night.
Oh, yeah.
I needed it.
He is absolutely so sick.
Of course.
He's so sick. Anyways, that Ryan guy, 44 years old, owns that team. Self-made.
The dog.
Ryan
He looks
Smith.
like he's 27 too.
Super cool.
He looks
too.
awesome.
That's the Jazz owner?
Yeah, Jazz owner right there. 44 years old.
Wow.
Has sold his company twice now. Now he's just owner of Utah Jazz. Self-made. I learned his whole story while I was sitting there because we hit up Shams when we were out there because we learned that the Jazz were playing the Clippers and it was at home. And ZD sends a text to Shams like, hey, you know anybody in Utah Jazz? And then all of a sudden by the end of the show, Zito comes up to me and he goes, okay, so here's the deal. The Jazz would like us to come to a game and the owner would like you to sit with him. Is that something you'd like to do? And I'm like, I mean, I guess. I was going to just kind of study, maybe do some sleeping, but yeah, I'll do that. So I'm like, who is the owner? I didn't even know who the owner was. I started Googling, and I'm like, this motherfucker's a dog, dude. 44 years old, this guy? And they started, so then I sit down with him, and Gumpy's right next to me, and I don't know if he knew what he signed up for with me sitting next to him.
Sure.
He's like, yo, take me back. How'd we? So I started peppering him with questions about his story, because that stuff is inspirational to me. Like self-made people that go on to own the team that they were sneaking into an arena to watch as a kid is cool. Like, that's a cool story. And I was very thankful for his hospitality. Big J, the whole squad.
Oh, yeah.
Connor.
Class.
Connor was sitting on the wood next to Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. Saw you with Flash.
That was
awesome.
They sent us a Sprinter van to pick us up. We go through the players' lot. We go through the suite, and then we're courtside with Dwayne Wade.
It's
unbelievable.
So stupid how nice they were to us.
Wow.
So
Ridiculous.
stupid.
Best organization.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
By far.
I'm riding with the Jazz.
Yeah.
I am riding with the Jazz because of how nice they were to us. It was awesome.
And the game was bonkers.
Great game.
Yeah.
First win of the season. First win of the season.
When you had a couple interactions with not just the owner.
Coach Hardy, this dude's 34 years old. He got hired out of Boston.
Yep.
Danny Ainge is now the president of operations.
Got to
Danny
meet
Ainge
him.
is sitting right behind me. Get a chance. He knew who I was, which was awesome.
Pretty
that was
sweet.
a cool thing.
Love Danny. That was cool.
He might have learned day of, too, just like I learned of all them. Nonetheless, he at least acted like he knew who I was, said what's up to Gumpy. Was very nice to him. Coach Hardy, though, 34 years old, first head coaching opportunity. He's in there. He's fiery, handsome.
Yeah.
And Kelly
Olynyk,
who I've seen play for a long time with the long hair out of Canada, I guess this year not putting up as many threes, or maybe in the game wasn't putting up as many threes. You pump fake it and then kind of make a play for somebody else. So in the first half, he's sitting in the corner, gets the ball, wide open shot, pops it, and then moves. And Coach Hardy goes, we need Kelly to shoot a fucking three. Like as he's wide. And he's pretty... He's pretty, like, this guy was pretty animated.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool, pretty animated, though. And I'm, like, right there in the fucking huddle watching this whole thing happen. So Kelly gets another one, I think, in the second quarter, and he pops the guy jumps in, and he dishes it, and he goes, that 3 would have been fucking awesome. I forget how he said it, but he was, like, wording it back to somebody. So at halftime, I go to Dwayne Wade, I go, Kelly doesn't shoot threes or what? He goes, I play with Kelly. Kelly is so smart. Like, Kelly is the smartest guy on the court whenever he's on the court. So he's reading the guy, and if he pops it, he thinks that's the right decision or whatever. So, yeah, he'll shoot a 3, great shooter of a 3 or whatever. I'm like, sweet. So here I am now. You know, I've had a couple of nice cold caffeines. Nice cold, ice cold caffeines out there in Utah. Maybe some things that would potentially land you in jail for a year out there. Had to make those disappear.
Yeah,
because if they're just laying around, you
Can't
can't do that.
Trouble.
So Kelly goes to check in the third quarter. He's standing right next to me here. Okay, owner's right here, obviously, incredibly kind. His wife's right next to him, incredibly kind. 2 kids, got to meet two, I think they have 4 or 5 kids. Everybody's so freaking nice. Like, so nice, so really hospitable. Cool. Kelly's standing right here on the thing. I go, Kelly, you hit a 3 this half. I'll donate $10,000 to a charity of your choice. And he goes, really? I go, yes, I absolutely will. He goes, all right, he checks in. So I think I put the owner in an awkward position there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh, fucking idiot. Why you got to do that? You know, Gumpy pumped about it, though. Gumpy's like, laughing. Like, yeah, let's do this. Fourth quarter. They're battling back and forth.
Seriously.
LA Clippers are making a big-time comeback, a big-time run. Utah Jazz are battling this whole thing. Kelly gets the ball in the corner, fucking pop, splash. This is the second one. Back-to-back drives. Kelly just pulls it. He's right there walking motherfucking, like right there in front of me. And then I'm going crazy. And then immediately after the game, Ryan heard the whole thing. There's the owner. Yep. He's shooting it. I'm just slapping the shit out of him. There's Dwayne Wade going bananas because he obviously heard about the conversation at halftime. And then afterwards, I got a message from Kelly. It was like, yeah, hey, 2 of them things, right? So that's 20,000. And he gave me the foundation to donate to. And yeah, it was the coolest. It was the coolest basketball experience I've ever had. And I'm very, very grateful to the Utah Jazz for being so hospitable. And hey, let's go win one.
Yeah.
Hey, Utah, let's go Jazz.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go win one. It's going to be tough, but let's go win one.
Why not?
Dogs, though, and the way they set up their stadium. Like, they put that owner's, like, suite section, obviously not on the floor, no shit, but it is right when you walk through. So there is no travel whatsoever for anybody.
It's loud, too. It's a loud house.
Yep.
It is a loud. They built it to be loud.
Hey, I was told that's every game, too. Even a Tuesday night, that place is going to be very loud.
251 straight sellouts or something like that. 18,000 something, you know. And I was talking to him.
John Stockton there?
I did not see John Stockton.
It is his
Any of the legends, Karl Malone, all the legends. Is Dwayne Wade always there or what?
Steve, so he's an owner.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's one of the
owners. I thought he had a chunk of it. All right.
Yeah, he's in the ownership group, not for free.
No.
That was
Had to pay for that.
actual ownership group. He's in there. Danny Ainge, obviously he's president. Dwayne Wade's around. Ryan, I think he's a big basketball fan, loves basketball.
Yeah.
But it was very evident talking to him. Like, he was not scared to be like, what does this guy think? What does Dwayne Wade think? I would like to take that into account. And it's his 3rd year there, and he is very present. He goes to all the games. They had a putting contest. Like, he cares about the little things too, which I appreciated. Nice. Like the show, the experience, the whole thing. I think he very much views it as like, we are hosting a massive event in Salt Lake, and it's like all of our friends and family from the city are coming. Let's at least make it an awesome night. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it gets better than what they did on Friday. A guy buried like a half-court putt for 5,000. Wow. And during one of the breaks, they obviously come back and win it in a nail biter at the end. It was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you to Utah Jazz.
And also, best part of the show, right after the game is finished, Big J throws up shots the whole time.
Yeah, Big J's a dog, dude.
Big J is a dog.
Big J's the one that was driving the Sprinter van to come pick us up. He's been friends with owner Ryan Smith since kindergarten.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, Big J has great hat.
Yeah.
He's walking through that building. Big J.
Yeah, he's
Big
the
J.
guy. Yeah.
Big J's a dog.
Said he tried to get in for some sort of concert, and his name wasn't on the list. And then he said, Big J. And the guy was, right this way, sir.
Oh, it's a B, not a J.
That's on me.
Big J. Sorry about that. Yeah. So thank you to all of Utah. Thank you to the Jazz. And sorry Oregon went in there and just did what?
Yeah,
that's
a good football team.
It's a good football team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good football team.
They showed up for us Saturday morning, though, at game day.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
That was awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That was the best All right, I'm not saying it.
No, it was.
Better than
Definitely
better than Notre Dame because that place was packed.
Bro, that was the best experience I've had game day-wise.
Yeah.
Now, granted, whenever you're sitting next to a billionaire, I mean, it's hard to judge things like in a reality situation when that's all taking place.
Yeah,
But the hospitality, how excited they were that game day was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were very, very thankful that game day was there.
Meant something.
And everybody felt that way.
Even on Friday, like, I know we talked about it, but I was shocked at, like, how crazy and how good that atmosphere was. Like, I mean, we obviously have no idea. Some of these places we kind of know that we have fans of the show there, but, like, no idea that it was going to be like it was on Friday.
So thank you, Utah.
Love
we
you,
appreciate
Utah.
you, Utah. We love you. Back to Alabama this weekend.
Here we go.
Let's go. Excited to get down a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
No, I'm shirtless. Oh, yeah, people, I was getting a lot of messages from people, and I appreciate them, friends of mine. On Friday, they were like, don't let these articles and polls change how you act on game day. Don't even, you know what I mean? Don't let it happen. Don't let it get in your head. I love watching you for you. You need to know that. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you very much. To be honest, I hadn't even thought about those polls because right now, I just got done winning the game with the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta, dive into what the show is going to be. Haven't even thought about it. And then I'm shirtless 3 minutes into the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Perfect.
For the people that didn't hate me, they hate me now. And those people that hated me in that poll, buddy, me shirtless 3 minutes into that fucking show, they had to be so. They did. They did say that. I saw a lot of that. This fucking guy. It's not about you. I'm like, I agree. It's about them.
Yeah, right.
It's about those.
And they're
people.
asking for it.
What was I supposed to do? Coach Whittingham, I did get a text from somebody we know very well. They were chanting for him to take his.
Yeah, they were.
He did not.
Okay.
Football gods.
Yeah, that might be.
Something to think about.
Is that why?
Maybe.
Yep.
You never know.
Maybe.
I'm not a football.
No, the football
Nope.
gods gotta love him no matter what.
Yeah, you're
that
right.
Harley.
Dude,
Him
he's
pulling up on that Harley
Weapon.
all the time.
it's a fat boy too, not a sports.
But they also gotta love Coach
Coach
Lanning
Diggs
because he
told me
came on in front of an away crowd.
Coach Diggs told me that. It wasn't sports or it was a fat boy.
he had one. So
Sorry about it, Coach.
he brought
Sorry,
it.
I apologize. But you're right. Dan Lanning coming on the set, facing the music. Football gods saw that.
Respect.
And also, I got massive respect for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as he said, yeah, it's pretty good, second to Watson, like, as soon as he sat down,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And they were loud about him. Chanting a lot of stuff
I
about
like
old
that.
Dan.
Hey, that Oregon team, why not?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they can go.
Especially with where Washington's been the last couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
They got to figure it out, too, up there. All right, let's get to a break. We'll have TJ Lang on the other side. We'll make our official picks, and we'll do all the overreactions from around the internet. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this job. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. Take 5.
Fight!
I had no idea what to expect whenever I came out here to Utah. Stop that. Yeah, I can't make it. Steve Smith Sr. Ladies and gentlemen, Pac-12 champion, head coach of the Utah Utes football team. Pulling in on a Harley-Davidson Sportster, I do believe, Coach Kyle Whittingham.
Lot of blessings piling up that I ain't even wished for. None left over for y'all. I'm locking the fridge door at the crib, cutting hits. I read through the catalog, came to conclusion, no one's touching this. Just finished the maiden voyage, hopping off the Mayflower. Said I'm shot to kill them off, whatever the take down. See the boats, I'm at home. I'm selfish with the goals.
I mean, you got to do it. It is 34 degrees out here in the back-to-back Pac-12 champions. Mighty Utah student section has been here in abundance. They've been loud. In today's a day where they showcase to the world that it's not just Mormons and soaking in Utah. No. It's great football and an incredible fan base. They've been so kind. I appreciate the hell out of you all. Have you ever thought something negative about a kicker before in your entire life?
Yes.
All right, relax, dude. Okay. Boston Connor was drinking with Dwayne Wade last night. $225,000. Let's remember this day forever, Cameron. Did you know that 29 out of the last 30 home games that happens right here at the University of Utah, the Utah Utes win? Cam Rising said yesterday, we don't lose at home, and today, they ain't losing. This place is going to be soaking in celebration this evening.
You guys were absolutely phenomenal. This morning, you showed everybody that this is the town you want to
I am jacked, dude.
Lighting's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, a man with the dog mentality, Paisano, Coach Sirianni. You're fucking awesome, dude. Did you ever feel any pressure that you were going to have to change and adapt to being a head coach and speaking in the same bullshit ways that every other head coach talks in?
Some of the best advice I got was be yourself, because if you're not yourself, everyone's going to see through it.
The messaging is the same. You're just doing it in your own way. And I think that's the most important part. And being authentic, you're 100% right. As you were saying, if I wasn't me, everybody who would tell the fucking locker room immediately going to be like, well, this guy, he's a stooge. There's another coach that wants to talk to you. Coach Sirianni, your question for Coach Sirianni.
I feel like I know you just as good as I know myself.
What is it about Jalen, you think, from your point of view, last year to this year, that is like cementing him as a guy that people are talking about? This motherfucker might win the MVP.
Well, I know which one thing you want me to say. He's a dog.
Yeah! Yeah!
He's a dog!
Yeah! Fucking dog!
Do you maybe want to play best 2 out of 3, rock, paper, scissors, coach first coach?
You're there forever, huh? Like, you have to have that mindset as the head coach? Like, do you feel like you're the perfect head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles? Because it feels like the team is the perfect representative of the city of Philadelphia. And I might be wrong. I'm from Pittsburgh, so the Johns are going to judge me for that.
I love the passion of the city and how much they care about football, because I care about football. I love football. I don't have a lot of hobbies. My biggest hobby is football.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What you got?
Scissors. Yeah, the same person.
Okay.
We both threw scissors.
Dog mentality really is to be in the moment that you're in now and not worry about what happened in the past, not worry about what's going to happen in the future. It's all about our process and about being here today to make sure we're about to go 1-0 this week. That's it.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh, I definitely got Jason Kelsey the kegs of beer. I was just trying to sweeten the deal of him coming back. As long as I'm the football coach here, I want him here, so I'm ready to give as many kegs of beer to him next year and the year after that and the year after that, because that guy is a dog.
Rock, paper, scissors,
shoot.
Same man.
We are getting our ass kicked in this preseason game. Belichick is taking it to us. It's halftime, and we are getting booed like you've never been. I was like,
paper,
rock, paper,
scissors,
shoot.
Oh, I think you might have rock there, but hey.
You got no idea what I'm going to do, because you're like, there's no way he's throwing scissors again. Come on, baby. I got a damn flower thrown at me. Right? A flower chucked down. We lost to the Chargers. Boom, flower chucked down.
Hey, how's your little manure settling in? That's literally what that John said as they were throwing that John at you. They were like, how's the manure and how's the flowers coming, coach?
Hey, this is game 7 here. Rock, paper,
scissors, shoot.
Scissors again. He threw scissors again, so did I. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, you guys are the same. Come on, hey, this is for 15 or 10.
Paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh! Dog mentality.
I got dog mentality, coach. What can I tell you?
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
What?
Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Overreaction Monday, October 30th, 2023. Hour 3 of this program starts now. Football! Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's AJ Hawk. Woo! Hell yeah. Football. AJ Hawk. Yeah. The Talks the Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Hey, that sounded good. Felt like you really wanted to say it.
Nice job, Ed.
I timed it up right. He's got it timed up right so you can actually hear me because normally I'm muted. You know how it goes.
No, you're never muted, but we potentially hear muted in your ears. You always sound fantastic. And the fact that you timed up, life's all about timing.
Yeah, it is.
Always.
Speaking of timing, one half of the Hammer, Dahn, Cowboys is here. Tone, it feels like public got slaughtered again this past weekend.
Yeah, quite a bit of that again this weekend because I think the books are kind of, they get.
What is this, 3 weeks straight now where the public has just gotten absolutely slaughtered?
Yeah. The books, they got their, 8 weeks in? They got their numbers in. They got their stats in. Their models are running. Their AI's fucking on full force right now. They know what they're doing right now.
Okay, so we got to start thinking like that.
Fade the public.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
we just got to start thinking that the book has its fastball. So whenever it gives a line, it's like we got to take that into account. Whenever they make something like 9.5 or 8.5, it's like, okay, well, we thought was maybe going to be a close game. It's not. Like they got this thing pretty much a good handle on it. What's that? 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler, who still gives out promoted picks, I do believe.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
Hey, they're gonna hit tonight, but
okay, I hope so.
I doubt
but yeah, I'm a little concerned now with this 7.5 tonight.
Yeah, well, the problem is we just assume one thing, but then the football gods never really let you just rest on your yawnies.
A lot of back doors.
They're going to do a lot of things to you. I don't really necessarily love that. Joining us now is a guy who maybe knows more about the Detroit Lions than any of us do. Maybe he's a guy that can steer us in the right direction so we can make a proper pick this evening because our picks against the spread have been fucking atrocious. AJ.
It's a tough game, tough world to live in that world.
It is tough. I'm happy we're out of it. Yeah. I'm very happy.
Thank God.
Thank God we're out of it. Joining us now is a man who's a Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, former 4th-round pick out of Eastern Michigan that has a new field.
Yeah.
Max Crosby Field.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, TJ Lang.
Yeah,
I need to get some of those AJ Hawk college game day chants going on, man. AJ, you're killing it, buddy. Good to see.
Yeah, hey, TJ, it does get loud, doesn't it, for those AJ Hawk chants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the people love him.
3 syllables.
Love Aaron James, man. He's the man. Always has been.
I think if we did have it Aaron James Hawk, they would still do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just the 3 syllables, AJ. It's you. I just want to let you know it's you. Did you hear the amount of fuck the something out of the Utah fan? I did not expect that, TJ. They were saying fuck everybody in really good choreography.
It was sweet.
Honestly.
Yeah, pretty foul out there in Utah, huh? Didn't expect that. Thought they were good people out there.
Well, they
good people. No. Just a little foul, a little more foul than I thought. I thought they were kind of top of the list, upstanding citizens, and they definitely out there.
Well, Jazz fans.
Not from what I saw. Just what's the guy's name? Dick Good.
Dick Good.
Good, yes.
Richard
had his work cut out for him.
So did you watch on ESPN, TJ? I have not even thought about that until right now. What did they do with all the fuck, whatever?
Early, they didn't do anything, and then as the show progressed, when someone else would be talking and those would start, they would just mute all our mics.
It was hard to tell.
Nick doing that. I'm talking about ESPN.
Oh, I thought that was from.
No, that's Nick controlling the audio there for the microphone. I'm talking about the send onto the feed. What was it?
I believe it all went through.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear. Yeah, first couple chants couldn't really make it out, but yeah, then it started getting louder and louder. You could definitely tell what was going on out there. But My type of people, man. My type of people.
Hey, me
Yeah,
too. I did not expect it, TJ. Honestly, I did not expect to fall in love with the state as much as I did, but great performance by their fans. Let's talk about some great performances. This brand new Lions team, bro. You know, last year, Hard Knocks, and we learn a lot about the team, and they take the next step. And then Ben Johnson doesn't get a head coaching job somewhere else somehow, some way. He's a part of a massive overhaul of an offense that is now electrifying and tops in a league and a bunch of. What do we know about the brand new Lions, and why did they just walk the Raiders tonight? Is that how you see this whole thing going, or how do you think tonight goes, TJ?
I think they win the game, and I kind of caught a glimpse of you guys talking about. I think 7.5 points might be a lot. I don't think this is a bad Raiders team. And I think the Lions have some injury concerns that I'm still worried about. I mean, David Montgomery, the offense just hasn't been the same since he went out of that Tampa Bay game a couple weeks ago. You know, offensive line, I mean, they're probably going to be missing their top interior 3 guys. I mean, Frank hasn't practiced all week. Jonah's out again with an ankle. You're probably going to see some shuffling there. The Raiders, I'd imagine they're going to try to use Max Crosby in a way to get some good one-on-ones there. He's always a problem. Another Eastern Michigan guy. Shout out Max.
He's got a field.
But I think it's going to be just rename the field after him. Generous guy. I think it's going to be a tight. I think it's going to be a tighter game though. I just do. I think Jared Goff has been playing good football. Last week against the Ravens, I know. Look, everything possible went bad. Offense, defense. That was one of those games that we've all been a part of on both sides. Shit just happens sometimes in NFL, and the other team's got your number. But I do think that Jared Goff, the ability of bouncing back. I mean, they haven't lost 2 games in a row now, going back to like week 6 of last year. You know, that's who I think this team is. I think they're a physically tough football team. I think they're a mentally tough football team. I think this is where like Dan Campbell and this team, this is their identity. They love to live like down in the mud and in the foxhole, like Dan Campbell says. Like they're not comfortable with all the hype around the football team and NFC favorites and possible. They don't like that. But they like being kind of the underdog mentality. And I think that Baltimore game kind of bumped them down back to that a little bit. I do think they rebound tonight, but Raiders, man, you can't sleep on these guys. I know that their offense has been a little bit stagnant. They've obviously been playing, I think 3 different quarterbacks now throughout the season, turning the ball over a ton, but they still got a lot of playmakers. I mean, Josh Jacobs, the guy led the league in rushing, right? Not too long ago. I mean, last year. Devontae Adams, still a top 2 wide receiver. I mean, stats don't show it this year, but he is. Those guys, they look to me like they're primed to kind of explode at any minute. And I wouldn't sleep on the Raiders tonight. I wouldn't. I think the Lions have enough to get the job done, but I think 7.5 might be a few too many points tonight.
You talk about the Raiders. I got to see Derek Carr yesterday live and in person. Oh, buddy.
Man.
Hey.
Can spin it.
He was putting some balls in some spots that were just like, this guy's throwing lasers right now.
Yeah.
And then that's the big question mark for the Raiders, right? It's like, are they able to utilize the weapons? Are they able to do anything? Sounds like you think they're going to be able to do some shit tonight against this Lions team. And you know what he said, MCDC? He said, you knock us down like the Ravens did. But we're going to get back up. We're going to gnaw on the kneecap. This is the time. This is the time to find out, right? If that culture has been cemented. The kneecap gnawing culture is tested tonight.
Yeah.
AJ, your question for TJ.
TJ, you mentioned the interior O-line for Detroit being banged up. What's it like being an O-lineman in there and not having that continuity and throwing new guys in there? How long, how many reps do you need to where you feel pretty comfortable with these guys?
I mean, shoot, until you feel 100% comfortable, I mean, you need a few games, to be honest with you. When you get into a point like tonight, I don't know what the lineup's going to look like. I imagine Graham Glasgow is going to be playing center, and he's got a ton of experience at that position. The other guards, I'm not really sure. I mean, they've got a young kid, 5th-round pick, Colby Sorsdahl, that has a little bit of guard experience in the preseason, might get the nod if Vaitai isn't able to go. It's not easy to just go out there on the fly and say, yep, we got it. Yep, we're down. Okay, we're good. It's tough, man. I mean, it's tough, especially when the stadium's going to be probably rocking tonight. It's going to be loud. I mean, I think the communication is going to be challenged even when they're on offense because I just think the fans are going to be so damn excited for a Monday night game. That challenges your communication, right? So it's definitely tough, man. I think, if anything, you look across, and this Raiders defense, they kind of remind me a lot of the Lions right now. I mean, they've got like one guy, Max Crosby on their side, Obviously for the Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. And then everybody else, you kind of just depend on playing good, team ball. The Lions have done that for the most part this season, with the exception of obviously the Ravens game last week. But the Raiders are kind of the same, right? I mean, the Max Crosby drives that thing. And everybody else, you say, okay, if we take care of 98, right, we should be able to get the job done everywhere else. I think the Raiders are kind of an underrated defense. Like, they're not getting smoked by teams. Bears kind of, got their number a little bit last week, but every other game's kind of been 21-17, like 19-6. You know what I mean? They all been kind of tight games. The Raiders defense doing a nice job. I just don't think that the Raiders have anybody really on the interior of that D-line that is going to make it too painful for the backups that the Lions are going to have to play tonight. They don't have an Aaron Donald type guy. They don't have a stud nose tackle or a 3 technique that can absolutely wreck the game over there for you. So that probably makes you feel a little bit better, knowing that you're not going against a Pro Bowl All-Pro type of guy. But like I said, I mean, they're going to be challenged. I bet probably on the first third down, Max Crosby is going to take a look across the line and say, yep, I'm going to go test this rookie at right guard and see what he's about. But AJ, you're right, man. It takes a while to get the communication down. It takes a while to get the chemistry down. Hopefully you can expedite that by, maybe I'm going to say probably 2 series into the game. You can say, okay, I got it. Like, I'm used to what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Let's just go out there and play. But it can definitely be a challenge.
Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Teej, who do you think shows up to the stadium first? Who do you think packs a bigger lunch pail tonight? Who do you think does all the right things more right tonight between Max Crosby and Hutch?
Oh, man. I'm going to say Hutch. I feel like he is due for another breakout game.
Crosby just bought a field.
Yeah, I love Max, and, man, he's a great dude. And he even talked about how, he was a little pissed off when the Lions passed on him back that, I think it was 2019. So there's certainly maybe a revenge factor for him. I just look, I mean, he doesn't play the inside a ton. Like I said, he's going to play a little bit there tonight, but I like the matchup with him and Penei Sewell on the outside. I mean, that's going to be an absolute dogfight. Penei's been top right tackle in this league for probably 2.5 years now. He's playing incredible football. Hutch just feels to me like he is just kind of due for a big game, right? The first couple weeks, he had a really, a couple sacks here, a couple sacks there. Now that I think the last 3 games, Lions as a defense have 2 sacks. So that defense is kind of primed, I think, for a breakout. I think Hutch is probably the leading candidate to go out tonight, primetime football, Monday night football, and go out there and show out early and hopefully show up often for that defense.
He looks so cool, too, when he's doing what he's doing.
Great paint.
I did a full...
and he's got his own bobblehead coming out tonight. So, that's...
It's Hutch bobblehead night?
Oh, yeah.
Hutch bobblehead night. Sweet. It's got like the little leg kick thing on it.
Whoa. Oh. Is his arm around Connor Stallions, or does he not know that guy?
I think Corporal Stallions, man, guy just sounds like he just loves Big Ten football. Can't get enough. Guy's just traveling the world.
And he likes space. He doesn't want anybody sitting next to him. Those stadiums, everybody's on top of each other.
Exactly.
He buys 11, 10 of these tickets, keeps everybody away from him.
You can lie down.
He served our country.
Thank you.
Foxy has a question for you, TJ.
Yeah, TJ. St. Brown is questionable with an illness tonight. What the hell's going on in Detroit? How's our best player getting sick? And have you heard anything on his status for tonight?
Patrick Mahomes is sick.
What do you mean?
Okay, best players get sick.
That can't happen.
It happens, I guess. I mean, I haven't heard anything, though, Foxy, that would sound super concerning about his availability tonight. I don't know. I guess it's just that time of year where, the weather starts to change and I'm not going to say what I was almost going to say. I'll leave that to Aaron Rodgers.
You can say it.
I'll leave that to Aaron Rodgers.
I don't have any. I don't think I have much concern right now about his availability. He's a tough son of a bitch, man. He's going to play. He'll play through anything. So I wouldn't be concerned about it as of now, Foxy.
Darius has a question for you. Whoa. Before we get to Darius, though. I don't know what you were trying to say, though.
Yeah, that was weird.
If you would like to
I don't know what I was trying to say either.
If you would like to retract any thoughts you had about a statement almost made, you could certainly do that if you'd like.
No, I'm not the expert when it comes to illnesses and possible ways to prevent those. So I know you talk to Aaron all the time, and he seems like he's pretty in tune scientifically and medically. So I just said, maybe that time of year where weird things start happening. Yeah.
You want to get in on that debate, Tej, that he's trying to put together?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would love to watch either.
We've had a couple of the parties included in that. Reach out and say, if you would like to,
we can set that up. We're ready.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm the right guy to be in that room.
You make a killing, dude. Do it on pay-per-view or something.
Oh, yeah. You know, then I would have to sleep later, and I just wouldn't be able to do that. D-Bud has a question for you, TJ.
Hey, Gibbs.
What up,
Gibbs
D-Bud?
banged up a few weeks ago. You think his usage goes up tonight?
I think it has to. I think last week they really tried to make him a big point of the game plan, but when you go down 14, 21, 28, in a flash, I mean, the other team's just going to basically give you 5-6 yards of carry if you want it. The Lions had to go one-dimensional and start throwing the rock last week, and he ended up getting a lot of targets. I mean, I know I really like the way he ran the ball, D-Butt, especially between the tackles. I think he made some growth there. As to what we saw early in the season where he just tried to bounce everything to the sideline and just outrun guys. You learn pretty fast in the NFL. You can't do that against these type of players. So I think he's another guy that they're really counting on. I mean, they're counting on him to take over the workload until, their hammer and David Montgomery gets back. And look, Jamir Gibbs has shown a lot of good things, I think, this year. And I think, like any rookie, he's shown a lot of areas where he can continue to improve. But he's a good player, man. I like watching him, and he kind of seems like, I know I talked about Hutch on the other side, where a guy that seems like he's primed to kind of have a breakout night. I think Jamir Gibbs is probably that leading candidate on the offensive side of the ball to see what he can get going. And he's fast too, man. And he's a bright kid. He's smart. He's starting to read blocks a little bit better, starting to be a little bit more patient, and those are all good qualities of a good running back.
I just learned Jamir Gibbs is on our fantasy team. He's not playing.
No, he is starting, but it's also 133 to 91. We don't need to play him.
Oh. Jamir Gibbs, great for fantasy. Also, fantasy football, not too bad.
No.
I've done nothing with my team, but I've paid attention to it through Connor doing stuff.
You're winning.
We're unbelievable.
Yeah,
you're a winner.
We're unbelievable right now.
Trade at the right time.
We actually are making a trade.
Well, we actually aren't because Matt Stafford got hurt.
Oh, so we're backing out of a trade. I don't know if I like the way we're doing business.
There was a handshake. I saw the handshake.
Unfortunately for Pat, as the owner of the team, he wants to go about the team one way as far as being a good and honorable franchise. But what stinks for Pat is that his GM's a scumbag and he's a crude businessman.
It is.
And unfortunately, that's just something that the owner has to deal with.
And to be clear, I don't know if I fully understand how to do a trade on the website in which it's at.
Excuse.
So I will need, but we agreed to a deal.
Yeah, we agreed to deal.
That's the guy coaching tonight that agreed to a deal too. But
yeah, exactly.
It happens in the business sometimes.
You're talking about McDaniel's turning the plane around?
Just saying it happens in the business.
And just like that team, the Colts and the team that we were going to trade with, both are poverty franchises, and there's no point to do business with them.
Have some respect.
Big Whitey did not deserve what you just said.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of trades and things
That
like
was a good point, Connor.
Thank you.
Will you relax? You don't know the guy. Speaking of, though, there's big trades happening in real life. Trade deadline tomorrow, 4 p.m. There's been moves already made today. Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Giants are finalizing a deal to send Pro Bowl defensive line and Leonard Williams to the Seahawks. Mike Garafolo and Ian Rappaport on the call, giving them financial flexibility. Here's the Seattle Seahawks, once again, making another play for a D lineman. This team wins games. Gino and Pete are always in it, and they've invested heavily on that defense. If you go back over the last few years, the amount of moves they've made to heighten that defense and bring it back to Legion of Boom type style of football. Good for the Seattle Seahawks here making plays. I like to hear this, AJ. I like to hear this.
Hey, GM John Snyder, Tej knows him well. He's not messing around. Like, that's smart, especially to add pass rushers too at the deadline. Like, I think it gives your defense some juice, some added juice to. You see a guy that you haven't really watched all year, and then boom, he's in the lineup, and it makes everybody better.
And you could just drop them in, right, TJ? I mean, that's just literally you could just drop them in.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't need to be too smart to play defensive line. So, yeah.
He's offensive lineman.
Go get ball. Yeah, go get ball.
Louise.
That's big.
I actually love that for Seattle, too, because that's been kind of their weakness, so to say, over the last couple of years is that interior of their defense. I mean, Bobby Wagner being back is a huge addition, but you look at their defensive line, and they're not what they used to be when they were that complete elite defense. They've obviously got the DBs right now. That Witherspoon kid he looks legit, man. That rookie from Illinois. But that's actually, that was somebody I wanted the Lions to maybe take a look at, and it looks like Seattle maybe beat them to the punch. I don't know if you guys saw any compensation for that. I'd be interested to see maybe second, third round pick for that guy, but. It's a hell of a pickup.
It's always
man.
lower. It's always lower than what you expect.
It's never what you expect, which is weird. You're like, oh, this guy got traded for.
Remember Randy?
Swap. Oh,
Randy Moss got traded for a fourth rounder or something. And I was like, Randy Moss is getting traded for a fourth round pick.
McCaffrey, he was
a
second,
bunch
a
of
third,
twos.
fourth, and a fifth.
Yeah, a bunch of twos. I think that's been a big talk about Detroit. This team. I wonder if because everybody feels like, hey, they're in a spot to compete this year. They're going to make some moves. I wonder though if playing on Monday night before the deadline maybe hurts them a little bit, because they're not going to want to make a move right now before the game and maybe throw off the locker room 4 hours before a game. I wonder if maybe
good point.
Maybe playing Monday night before the trade deadline maybe hurts a little bit when it comes to some of this movement.
The Giants are getting a second rounder. Okay, this is a big deal. 2024 second rounder and a 2025 fifth rounder. That is a big deal, and that showcases what the Seattle Seahawks are looking to do, D-Bud.
Yeah, and what they think about Leonard Williams. I know he's a dog, and I know Seattle, I believe, lost their best pass rusher, Wosu, if I'm saying his name right, number 10.
Yep.
It's coming off the edge.
Shannon Wosu, good player.
So he's been a dog. I'll tell you how much I love the secondary. And the secondary there, pass rushers only help that secondary. So great move for Snyder.
They're going to have to pay him, too, and he's in his last year of his contract.
I thought he got paid already.
He did.
Oh, maybe he did.
He did from New York, but
he's
the last year of it.
He's going in his contract year for sure for him. But I like that for Seattle, man. That's a sign of going all in. And I mean, who knows? A lot of these NFC teams, like look at Washington right now. I know they lost a close game yesterday, but if you're them, do you really punt the season and start trading guys? You look at the rest of the NFC and you say, all right, I mean, the Rams, their quarterback just got hurt. No, but that's crazy. You look at the division leaders, though, and it's like, okay, you got obviously Philly, Seattle's up there now. But then you look at the wild card and you say, Rams quarterback just got hurt, right? Minnesota's 4-4, but their quarterback just got hurt. Maybe you can be that type of team that kind of sneaks in. I don't think we're going to see two teams come from that NFC South. Maybe if you're Washington, man, like I don't think they're a bad football team. You played the Eagles close twice now.
Agreed.
They could get hot. It'll be interesting to see if they make any moves here coming up in the next day.
Here's Coach Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders after the game when he was asked about a challenge of a fourth down incompletion that was ruled a completion in very important, crucial time for the Washington Commanders.
Why did you not challenge that? Because I didn't see it on the screen. I was looking at the screen to see if there was something that could help me with it. And then I was waiting to hear somebody upstairs, did you see it or not? And we hadn't seen the replay yet. So we weren't sure. So we just, they did their hurry up, ran to the line and snapped the ball. And you would almost think in that amount of time somebody else could have looked at it and might have saw it apparently. I mean, I still don't know whether it was or wasn't complete. It wasn't complete?
No. He's saying a lot of, inside thoughts with an outside voice. I think this has kind of been the Ron Rivera thing over the last couple of years. Like, we all have respect for him, but he's saying a lot of things that make you think, is that guy going to win a Super Bowl? So what do you think, is that what you said? Don't punt on the season?
I just think they're a good football team.
Maybe he
I know
will.
Ron Rivera, he's kind of lost his identity, I think, a little bit when it comes to the riverboat Ron and the gambler and the guy that's being aggressive. I mean, we saw it the first time they played the Eagles, right? You're like 10-point underdogs. You score late in that game. I think any of us were, when you kind of look at all those things combined, you say, dude, just go for two. Try to end the game right now. You've got no business being in this thing. They kick the field goal, send it to overtime, and lose. I think Rivera's kind of lost a little bit of that edge, maybe. That he used to have when he was with Carolina.
Owner,
they
TJ.
had really good team. Yeah, I get that. And there's probably a lot of pressure. I mean, he's with everything that's gone on in Washington over the last couple of years with Snyder, new owner coming in. I can only imagine that's a ton of pressure. I just look at Rivera sometimes and I'm like, man, like he kind of lost that riverboat kind of nickname a little bit because he doesn't seem to be aggressive. But I look at the Washington Commanders football team and I say I think they're a good football team. I don't think they're going to challenge for the Super Bowl any means, but I don't know. Could they be a team like the Giants last year that sneak into the playoffs and maybe make some noise? And, how far does that go for a coaching staff with a new owner when you're trying to prove that you're the guy?
Agreed.
I don't know. We'll see.
If you're a Commanders fan, you want that?
I think everybody does.
Isn't it
And I
interesting?
think-
That's an interesting predicament, though, with new ownership, new stadium upgrades.
Not everybody.
Like, what is the new team, going to look like? Is Ron Rivera going to remain the head coach? How about the building? How much turnover is going to be in the entire building? Because that thing didn't get closed, until very close to season.
Yeah.
So it's like, are we in a lame duck year right now? Regardless, it's like, you got to balance all that shit,
Yeah, no, you do. And I just think the one thing is, you guys both know as a player, you don't give a shit about, the trade deadline and who's coming in, who's coming out. You're just worried about going out there and trying to win football games. And the point I was trying to make, I just don't think Washington's a bad football team. And look, I think the Lions actually, I've heard a couple coaches already mention what the Lions did last year. I think Sean Payton was one of them. And he said, the Lions were 1-6 and finished the season 8-2 and almost made the playoffs. I think what the Lions did last year are giving a ton of these teams hope this year to say, well, Lions did it. We might be able to do it too, So I don't know what's going to happen. I just tell you, it seems NFL trade deadline and movement and, acquisition has been super exciting in the last, maybe 2 or 3 years. You never used to really see high-profile guys getting moved at the deadline and all these teams giving up draft pick and teams kind of going in on it. It's exciting now. It's almost like baseball and hockey where you're like, oh, shit, I thought that guy was going to be there forever, and, oh, nope, they gave up a second-round pick. He's gone. So I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. I know, Kyle Shanahan, I don't know if I believe him. I mean, I think he said today that he doesn't see necessary for them to go out and make any moves. I think they still have, I don't know how much draft capital they have given up, going to get first Trey Lance and then Christian McCaffrey, but they still have a shit ton of cap space. I think it's more than any other team in the NFL still this year. So I'd be shocked if they don't make a move. I'd be shocked if Philly doesn't continue to make a couple moves as well to kind of separate themselves in the NFC. And that's the interesting part, it's kind of circling back to Detroit is, are you just going to be content kind of competing for the NFC North division this year? Or do you think you're a good enough team to go compete and maybe have that special year like the Rams did a couple years ago? So
tell them,
we're
go all
find
in.
out.
Tell them.
If it were me, look, I'm not a big fan of going all the way in. I think you still have
just tip.
Responsibility to, just a couple like your Utah folks, just kind of soak a little bit.
Yeah, but you're in. But you're in at least. You're not. Yeah, I
yeah, but be aggressive though, and I think that's been it's paid off for teams. I mean, it paid off for the Rams a couple years ago. It paid off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple years ago, and I think that's kind of the new MO of the NFL this time of year.
I was on a cruise one time, and a man approached me to potentially do something with his wife.
Sure.
And I passed because there was no exit to that cruise, and we were going to be around each other for the next 6 days, and that just felt like a no.
Smart.
I will say in Utah, thank you. I thought so too. There's been people that have judged me though.
What?
There's been a couple of my teammates go, I've been fucking that man's wife for 6 straight nights. That's what I heard.
Jeez.
That's why no exit. That's good. She's on my boat now. All right.
Oh, God.
All right, you psycho. That is not how I view things. And then in Utah, I was approached about potentially being an earthquake for somebody. And I was saying, that was a smart idea. I turned that one down too, but I said, smart idea.
Yep.
I would have been the right guy to do that. I didn't have enough time.
Big compliment.
That is a big compliment.
Huge.
Saw my quads and calves and thought,
That's it.
Need that guy quaking for me.
that might be the best 4 seconds of mine.
Have a good night.
Holy hell. Just go ahead and fall in there.
You're not living life to the fullest, my friend.
Yeah, see, you're very similar to a lot of the people that I spoke about the cruise.
AQ, okay.
Well, he was certainly potentially one of them, but he was not the only one talking about that.
Sure.
There was real disappointment in a couple of my friends' faces. Why are you so dumb all the time? What's that?
What do you mean?
Excuse me?
Why are you so dumb? You're the dumbest. I'm like, well, I think I'm incredibly smart. I don't have to deal with these people for the next fucking 5 days. Like, what are we even talking about? Deal with it. They got to deal with you. And she's got to deal with something much different than everything. And I'm like, you're a fucking maniac.
Come on,
But I
Vinny.
did get approached about quaking.
Was he going to be in the room with you? Is that what they wanted?
I didn't get
Is he
to
going
the
to be
details.
filming?
I didn't get to the details. It was at the bar. I was sitting there about to order. Probably one for everybody in there because the prices of them, who knows, and you don't actually get charged.
Palmy alert.
Yeah, it was everything. And guy just kind of snuck in next to me. Hey, I saw you down at the blackjack table. You remember that? Like, yeah, sure. My wife and I were talking. I go, whoa, wait a minute.
Where's this going?
What the hell is? And then as I'm getting these drinks, I was propositioned. And I say, excuse me? So what? How's this thing go? And then He said, well, I just was wondering if you would like to, have a night with my wife or whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Are you on a cruise for the rest of the time? Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. And then I just kept passing out the drinks. And then I explained with the situation to the people I was with, and they all tried to become my replacement. It was a wild scene. Anyways, let's get back to football, because you were talking about going in, but not all the way in. The Rams did that. The Rams did it. And now they're in the middle of a transition era, it feels like, as well. Matthew Stafford gets hurt, not from hitting his thumb off a helmet. No. Ooh. It was some other time that injured his thumb, of course. But they're stuck in an interesting time. Got OGs worth a lot of money in some spots, able to win any game. But does anybody think they're going to go win a Super Bowl? I don't think anybody's putting them in that particular sphere. So it's like trying to figure out who you are is a big deal, I think, at this trade deadline as well. And maybe somebody from there will get moved.
Yeah.
We have no idea. That was kind of like talked about last week. Now it's kind of gotten quiet. Darius has a question for you, TJ.
Well, yeah, I asked you about Gibbs earlier, but let me ask you about Crosby. As an old lineman with a guy like that, you got talented tackles, but in the past game, is that something like game plan-wise, you're going to always have a chip, a double on 98 in certain situations?
I think you have to, and I think this would be a good week for it because, like we talked about earlier, I just don't really see anybody on that Raiders defensive line that can, consistently win their one-on-ones. Yep. So that's got to be the guy where, look, if you're Ben Johnson, you say we got to know where he's at. When you walk into that meeting room on Monday or Tuesday, you circle 98 and you say we got to pay attention to this guy. And look, as an offensive lineman, you love these matchups. You love taking pride in beating the best, right? Penei Sewell is not going to be the guy that walks into the office and says, hey, can you give me a thump this week? Like, he wants to go beat Max Crosby one-on-one. But it's just smart football when you say, let's park a tight end there, right? Let's get the guard kind of sliding over to take away the inside. Let's get maybe a running back on the way out under the route to, maybe get a rib shot. And a lot of times it might not even be about, you're worried about that guy, or you're worried about your own guy not being able to block him, as it is you just try to get as many shots on these guys as you can, so they're thinking about it the rest of the game, right? Max, maybe the first time he rips outside and gets a rib shot, maybe he's going to think twice about the next time he wants to do that. It's going to be in the back.
You offensive lineman, unbelievable, looking for
You're
ribs.
Not trying to hurt him. You're just trying to, you're trying to get those body shots in there. That's all it is, and it's part of football, man. AJ, you know that.
Oh yeah,
it's like an early cut block. It's like if a fullback cuts you early, it's going to slow you down a little bit because you're worried the dude's going to cut you the rest of the game.
That's tone setter.
Yeah, now you're thinking, hey, next time you get that look, right? It's gonna hesitate you for a split second, and we all know in that split second, man, that's all you need in the NFL to get a win on the play.
Yeah, but it's the gleam in your eye whenever you guys talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you and AQ
opportunities.
Yeah, AQ.
Well, okay, and ask AQ, right? How many times these scumbag defensive linemen bitch about getting cut block, and then the next play they freaking ear hole you on a
No,
I've
never seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that happen, not one time.
No sympathy ever for defensive linemen, and you should feel that way too, Pat. They're all scumbags.
Jeez.
Well,
I love Hutch. I love Crosby.
Yeah,
scumbag. Von Miller.
Von Miller?
Yeah, Von. No, he's not. You need to watch your mouth.
Clay Matthews.
Scumbag.
TJ Lang.
On the field.
TJ Lang.
Say again? Scumbag.
Yeah. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Tej, even though you
Ty,
work for
how are we doing today, Ty?
No.
I'm just saying, man. I still root for my green and gold too, man. It's a rough year so far.
Yeah, it is a rough year, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. Being that you did win a Super Bowl with the Packers, and I know you work for the Lions now, and you're a Lions guy, and you're a Michigan guy, but with how shitty they look and how different this team is, like we were talking about it earlier, I'm pretty all doom and gloom. I think they're going to probably lose the next 5 games. They might end up winning 3-4 games this year. Do you think that whole situation is salvageable? I know it's tough to say like whether or not Love's the guy, but we were saying like if they get a top 3 or 4 pick, like do you think there's a chance they blow everything up and look at a quarterback? Like, I mean, are we just in no man's land here? Like I don't think anyone thought when Aaron left things would get this bad this soon. But goddamn, we are there already. And there's 9 football games left to be played.
I wouldn't say no man's land. I mean, you look at just kind of the landscape around the team this year and a ton of young players. How much dead cap space do they have? Like $60 million in dead cap. I mean, you kind of look at those. You first year quarterback. You say, okay, sure, we'd love to compete. We'd love to, take the league by storm. I don't know if that was a realistic expectation to begin with. So I don't really see a need, Ty, to hit the panic button by any means in Green Bay. AJ, you were there the first year that Aaron was a starter. I think you guys were 6-10. It was a year before I got there. I didn't get the sense that there was any panic when I came in about, we got to blow this thing up. You got to go about it the right way, though, right? I think in Green Bay, they always cherish the draft picks. They always cherish being able to build that team kind of from within. I certainly think they're going to be in the good spot come the offseason where they do get some of that dead money off of their books to go be aggressive. It's something that we haven't seen them do in quite some time. But, a big part of that, I think, was because you had Aaron. And, AJ, when we played with Aaron, we never went into a game where we thought we were going to lose or, man, we were just outmatched. We're like, no, we've got one of the best quarterbacks, got a chance to win every game. But this kind of reminds me, it could be, and I hope not maybe the same path, but you look at Bill Belichick out in New England. I mean, when he had Tom Brady, literally never did really anything, right? Never really brought in any weapons for Tom Brady. Never really did anything they wanted him to.
Martellus Bennett, Antonio Brown.
Randy. Did you just say Welker and Edel? Those guys are late round picks.
Didn't
right?
say
Welker was a dog for the Dolphins, dude.
TJ, I didn't say Edelman because we drafted him. We didn't draft Welker. We traded for him and we signed him.
Was there an answer draft?
Okay, what'd you trade for Wes Welker? A 7th-round pick?
I don't know.
No, Welker was a dog for the Dolphins, dude.
That's not the point you made. That's not the point you made. You said he never brought people in. It didn't matter if he brought them in for cheap, TJ.
The point I'm making is they were never aggressive, right? They knew they had Tom Brady and they were going to win games. I think that was kind of the MO that Green Bay had with Aaron Rodgers. Now that they don't, now that they see what it looks like without him, they're going to be forced to do it. So, Ty, to kind of circle back to your question, I do not think the Packers are dead. Certainly this year, I'd be surprised if they go on some magical run and start, beating teams and are in the playoff hunt by the end of the season. But I don't think they're in dead man's land when it comes to this offseason and moving forward. I think they're probably going to be in a pretty good spot.
For the record, let it show. They traded a 2nd and a 7th rounder for Wes Welker.
Oh, that's what
he never brings guys in. I was half right.
A second, but the half you were missing pretty fucking big. I mean, we just said
you weren't half right.
A second
you
rounder.
You get the picture though.
Randy Moss, pretty big move.
You can go to damn near every year. I mean, the year
that was 2008. That was almost 20 years ago.
Okay, so now
good
we're
math,
just trying.
Good math.
Yeah.
Good math. That's real. That is real, TJ. No, but the Packers fans, I think they were all very excited to get past the Aaron Rodgers era.
Not everybody.
Not all of them, but a very loud group of people were excited to get past it. And it's like this transition era, I think, was, probably the most expected if you were to really sit down and think about it. But now that it's happening, it sounds like it's like, oh, no, this is not what we signed up for or wanted to be a part of.
I still just go back to the start of the season. They started 2-1. They beat the Saints, who, look better now than they did then. And, Jordan Love actually looked like he was the guy.
Saints look good. Please.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. The fact that they're averaging, I think they showed something last night, 4.2 points in the first half over the last 4 or 5 games.
They haven't scored a touchdown in the first half in the last 5 games.
Pretty good.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Pat, go.
That to me is incredible. And I don't put it all on Jordan Love. I mean, watching the game yesterday, there were, probably 6 or 7 drops that guys are just not catching the football. A bunch of stupid, kind of penalties. The defense probably been a little bit underwhelming considering all the pieces that they have.
Never
I know
heard that
they've kind of
before.
had their share of injuries, but look, I mean, Jordan Love, man, I don't know. It's just a combination of all things. I don't think he looks great at times, but also I think the plays that he does make, guys aren't helping him out much. So they're going to get it figured out eventually.
LaFleur's the guy, yeah?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just, be honest with you, I mean, looking at it.
You can say it.
You'd say, his first 3 years, what did they win? 13 games every year, and they were in the NFC Championship game. And now you look at it and you say, okay, what can you do? This is always the question, but really around all the coaches, what can you do when you don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback? Certainly there's some with Aaron Rodgers, right? He was great.
Oh.
And Matt LaFleur was awesome with Aaron. And when Aaron was playing really good especially
guy's
a
holding
few
his
years
water.
back they were making it to the NFC Championship game. But you look at it now and you say, kind of stale offensively, right? I think this was kind of Matt LaFleur's calling card of being in that McVay and that Shanahan kind of system and the creativity. And you look at it now and you just say, yeah, just a kind of a bunch of blah, right? And I do think he's a good coach, though. I do think he's a guy that can kind of hunker down and figure it out. But, obviously time will tell.
Well, and they're giving Jordan Love 2 years, right? Because they did the extension in the offseason, or is that just so they didn't have to pick up his 5th year?
Yeah, they gave him a bunch of money up front this year, so I think they can still make the decision after this year. But, I mean, they're not going to get rid of him.
Yeah, but if you make, I hope not. Jordan Love dropped into an interesting spot. But if Jordan doesn't work, guess what you're doing next? The Colts are in the middle of it. Okay? You're just,
Oh, yeah, I know. I know.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bring Jameis to Green Bay.
I like his energy. I like his moxie.
Yes.
He was on the sideline. He looked awesome.
Yeah.
He looks so cool for the Saints.
Exactly. I'd love watching him.
All right, TJ, before we let you go, score prediction for this evening is?
I got the Lions 27. I got the Raiders 21.
Hell yeah.
Not covering close
So
to he says.
please don't call me tomorrow if I'm wrong. I don't want to cost you guys too much money. Bet responsibly as always. But
TJ.
I do think the Raiders get it covered tonight. I do.
Do you know if Kid Rock will be in attendance tonight?
Haven't heard yet. I'm going to plan on getting down there early though, Foxy. I'll make sure I give you a full recap of all the celebrities that'll be in attendance. We're kind of competing with the Chargers or the Chiefs right now, right? You see Taylor Swift and you look in Detroit, you say Eminem. I don't know about you guys. I'll take Eminem all day of the week.
Well, okay. Me too.
Are you really going to argue
Robinson.
No, I won't. Tim Robinson also there. I mean,
Should have led with that.
and then also, is
Big Sean,
Big-
Bob Seger, Uncle Cracker.
Oh, yeah. He's a
right?
guy.
Uncle Cracker?
Uncle Cracker.
Give me a beat boy and free my soul.
Let's get Tim Allen in there.
There it is. There's the one. There's a
Tim
new Santa
Allen.
Claus coming
Tim
out, by the
Allen,
way. I'm
yeah.
not sure if you knew that or not.
What's that?
There's a new Santa Claus coming up.
There isn't. There's only one of them, and it's been repeated a few times.
Yep.
We don't need to do
It's
anything
coming out.
else.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it does look kind of
Jeff
cool.
Daniels.
Is Tim
Dumb and
Allen in
Dumber.
it?
Tim Allen
Yes.
Santa
Yeah.
and his evil brother is fake Andy
Thank
Reid.
you.
Okay, if Tim Allen's the Santa Claus, I'm in. But
Yeah.
if they're going to try to do the song and dance with somebody else, I ain't got time for
I
it.
wouldn't have mentioned it if it was somebody.
Scott Calvin is the fucking Santa Claus.
Still him. Still him.
You seen that
It
movie?
better not be like heavy
with Tim
CGI either.
No. It's all.
Yeah,
No,
the
they
one
look
with Tim
great.
Allen, yeah.
Yeah, who's Scott Calvin?
Oh,
All right,
Jesus
so you haven't
Christ.
seen it.
Oh, no.
I say name.
Don't look at me, D-Bud.
You
Look
say
somewhere
Scott
else.
Calvin. Name. Ho ho. Shisho. Name. Santa Claus. Name. That's a whole scene. That's a good scene.
It is.
We're almost in Grinch Santa Claus
we're getting
time.
So
very
close.
Oh my God.
On Wednesday, we're there.
Whew.
You guys got any breaking news over there on trades, by the way? My phone just like blew up out of nowhere.
Well, probably because you embarrass yourself by saying all the things you said about being a cheap shot artist on this show.
What else is fucking I never said that. I just said I was a scumbag.
All right.
Might be the 8 cannons you have in that lower lip.
Yeah, they might be saying, hey, take it easy on the Zen, pal.
It's only a double today. I got a long night ahead of me, boys.
Are you a Zen guy or are you old school?
I'm still old school. Yeah.
I know a chaw fiend when I see one.
What other fucking problems do I have? Huh? Who was that? Ty?
Hey, reform
Yeah, tell me
chaw.
all my fucking vices.
Yeah, you told us you drank 12 IPAs on the first 9 holes one time, too. T.
Yeah.
Might be a bit of a booze bag.
And also old school tobacco
That's
might
not
need
a
to...
vice. That's having a good time.
Exactly.
There's a difference, asshole.
Learn how to party, idiot.
All right, TJ. Good luck out there tonight. If you see Bob Ritchie, certainly send a bird call. If Eminem makes it back from Saudi Arabia after seeing Francis Ngannou get screwed, we'll be pumped about it. Big Sean's going to...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You see that picture, by the way, sitting with Mike Tyson and
Vince?
the OG himself, Vinny?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince looked he looked good, didn't he? Looked really good.
What's
Yeah, he
that?
did.
What's that
Yeah,
about?
he did.
What's that?
Dude, his hair. He's got to do
What
something
was
with that hair,
that?
man.
Yeah, what do you mean? His hair looks great.
You son of a
He shaved
bitch.
his mustache.
We got to do some of that hair, Vinny.
He shaved his mustache. You look good out there. You saw who was front row, though. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, they paid him however many, 900 million or whatever
right.
it was. And then it was Highness, honest, majesty.
Right. Your Excellency.
Your Excellency
Yeah.
is right now. And then there's some empty seats, and then it's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And Vince has been doing business with Saudi Arabia since like whenever The Rock's dad was wrestling. So that was actually a big part of young Rock. The Rock's dad double booked in Saudi Arabia, and Vince McMahon caught and heard wind of it. He was supposed to work for Vince, and then he signed another one for somebody else because he was going to be there, and then they kind of fought against each other. That's kind of the plot of young Rock. And it's like, so now that everybody's kind of doing business with Saudi, it's like I think Vince is literally part of the family over there.
Yeah, basically.
Which is a wild thing to think about over there.
He was the path builder, huh, for all these sports going over there, and the peacemaker with the Sauds.
I think they all take a lot of pride. Everybody that's doing business with them, obviously, money is going to be good. But, like, I think they're all taking a lot of pride in potentially being, like, trailblazers and making a country that has been stuck in the way back, like, kind of evolving it. It's happening, I think, right in front of our eyes. Now, is it a perfect...
Yeah.
It's a perfect place? No. Is there a lot of bad things that have happened? Certainly. But I think there is something to be like, hey, we might be able to make a country a better place. I don't know. Who knows? I know Francis
They
Scott
got a ton of money over there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I feel bad for those live guys. Like, come on, if there was a football league over there that was about to pay us all $500 million, we wouldn't be on the first jet. I'd be. I'm not afraid to say it. I got no shame.
No.
Come on, D-Buddy.
I'll be right behind you, buddy.
No. By the way, it might be with the money they have, they might be able to do that. Actually, Roger Goodell needs to think about making amends with them as opposed to potentially the other way around. All right, we appreciate you, TJ. 6-point win for the Lions, says this man, ladies and gentlemen.
6 points.
TJ Lanning.
Play of the week, boys.
All right, let's go through some overreactions, and we'll make our official picks, and then we'll be off and running to a beautiful Monday Night Football on ESPN and
ABC. Yep.
And ABC. No Manning cast tonight.
No Manning cast next week.
Us, Joe, and Troy. Scott Van Pelt, Swagoo, Ryan Clark, Robert Griffin III.
All the boys.
And Michelle Beisner-Buck, who did a piece with MCDC where I think we saw tears in MCDC's eyes.
Yeah, that's literally all I saw. She asked about the team and how he would define them, and he said gritty, and then he got emotional because he loves those boys so much.
This guy's crying about the team that he's coaching.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Hey, describe this team. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Fucking love these guys, man.
He actually was describing the team the first year he coached and how much he loved those
He was
guys.
actually doing the Vince meme that's been going around here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
That's from him being asked about Undertaker.
Yeah, take it. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that what it's from?
MCDC did the same thing.
And I would assume, I would assume he did not know they were going to put that out.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Great.
Boy, the internet had a good time.
Love that meme.
Kevin James had a run.
Yep.
Remember with his little...
Yeah.
I'm seeing that come back around. That was a popular Halloween costume this weekend.
Had a good run. Vince with the... And then TJ. What's TJ saying?
I have no idea.
He looked fantastic.
He did.
Yeah.
Suited and booted.
DJ's an asshole.
There he is. Yeah. Nope, not talking about him. Nope, not doing it. Look how good that tie is.
Yeah.
I've seen
great.
like a
What are you talking
30-second clip of this too, like before and the after of that scene. It's even better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Take never left.
That's right.
Nope. No.
Started WCW. Came over to WWF. Never left when everybody else, potentially took the bigger paycheck to go. And that's why they're in Saudi Arabia watching Francis and Ngannou together. And that's why that meme, GIF, whatever the fuck we're calling it, is taking over the internet right now.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news.
Oh, boy.
Just 25 hours away from the trade deadline happening. Kid Rock will not be at Monday Night Football.
Come on!
Bob Ritchie won't be there either.
Wow.
Updated information.
Surprise halftime guess, maybe?
No, unless it's super surprise. We're being told from our sources close to the Rock, Kid Rock, that is,
Of course.
he will not be in attendance. So,
Damn shame.
Set up for Uncle Craig.
oh, 7.5 points. That's a lot of points without Bob Ritchie there.
Posner.
Is Kid Rock the Rock's son?
Posner will have the boys ready tonight.
All right.
Posner's there.
Let's go to some overreactions from around the internet. We can't thank everybody enough for sending these in every single Monday morning of a football season. It is a great trip around the league to see how fan bases are feeling in every single city, especially after 1 week doing one thing and the next doing something completely different. Sell the team. I hate this team. We're winning a Super Bowl. This guy's winning an MVP. Yeah. It is time for hashtag I don't want to overreact, but let's dive in. Ty Schmidt dove through all of the entries this Monday morning and picked his favorites. This is from Katie at KBrown412. Katie Brown from Pittsburgh, we would assume. Shout out. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but the Niners are dead in the bay. The Brock party is over, and he's back to being Mr. Irrelevant. Nick Bosa was overpaid to be on a shitty team. FTTB, no more. 49ers fans should find somewhere else to be faithful. Is Katie Brown right, AJ? This is 3 straight losses, 6 turnovers from Brock Purdy over the last 3 games. It's not going well. Joe Burrow sliced and diced that defense. It's supposed to be awesome. Nick Bosa isn't wrecking every single game like he has in the past. Are you worried? Are they done? No Trent Williams, no Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, having no Trent Williams, no Deebo has a huge impact on their offense. They still have tons of weapons, but no, I'm not worried. I think Niners fans would, I guess they're probably not worried, but they're wondering, like, all right, we got to figure this out real quick. We can't let this skid go any longer. But also, is Brock Purdy he passed concussion protocol. We saw the difference between before he took the hit last week, after he took the hit. Like, so now is he 50% better? Like, how much better does he feel, you think?
I don't know. He had a fumble, a couple picks.
Some big shots.
Lou Anarumo was doing his thing, dialing it up. Good defense or?
Good defense for sure.
Yeah,
You're always going to have a mixed bag with Coach Lou. I think the 49ers should have set him. You know, I hate seeing guys clearing concussion protocol on Saturdays.
That's first quarterback that's done that, right?
Yeah. You rarely see that happen.
This year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, no excuses. You take the field. You're expected to go out there and play and win, but definitely not hitting the panic button with this team. But they were at the top of the mountain 3-4 weeks ago. All of us, if we had to make one bet who the best team, who's going to make a Super Bowl run, it would have been the 49ers. Yeah. And you go 3 losses in a row, you're going to have some overreaction. But I think he will be okay. And Brock isn't playing that bad. I'm more concerned about the defense right now, honestly, after what the Vikings did and then the Bengals in back-to-back weeks. I'm more concerned about the defense right now than the offense.
Well, and the Browns beat them.
Yeah.
Browns, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the defense had a great game, obviously. In that particular one, it came down to a missed field goal, but still, like, Browns beat them.
Yeah.
We just saw what happened with the Browns in Seattle now. Different team, and Seattle Seahawks are who they are. They're number 1 in the NFC West for a reason, but it's like, I'm a little bit worried about this. Trent Williams, now Deebo, obviously great outlet. For Brock Purdy.
Huge.
He's able to do everything. He's a weapon. Trent Williams, though, is like, he's the guy coming out with the boombox at the beginning, right?
With Deebo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they're the guys that are pretty much.
Think of the confidence the whole team has because of a guy like Trent Williams coming out first. Like, we saw him when they got in the little pregame dust up. You see Trent coming in and settling things down right away. Like, that's a big deal. There's very few O-linemen in the league that have that impact, and Trent Williams is the top of the list. Like, he is that guy, I think, where it trickles down through I think the coaches have much more confidence when Trent Williams is in there.
So their first 2 guys off the bus are not playing. That's a little difference, especially when you're a physical team and a fighting team.
And you're getting the Bengals off a bye. Like, they needed that bye early, especially to get healthy. Like, I wouldn't say the Niners are dead whatsoever, but it's more so of like, hey, the Bengals are here now. Like, they are the team that we thought they were going to be.
Let's go to another overreact. What's that? Sorry,
Bosa does have to
pick it up.
Pick it up for sure, and then Brock obviously got to take care of the ball. George Kittle did speak on that a little bit after the game, which was a little surprising.
Other Bosa made a great play last night.
Yes, he did.
Shot through and then jumped over the quarterback.
Incredible.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was insane. I don't know how humans are that explosive and athletic. Good for them. Let's go to another overreaction. This one's from Bor Nagol.
Yep.
I am Bor Nagol. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but Steelers stink. From top to bottom, the old ways don't work no more, Rooney. Sell a team, get a new coach staff, and find a quarterback. Steelers starting to look like the new Pirates. Con the fans into watching a failing franchise. That is something that the Pittsburgh Pirates have done for a long time with that beautiful stadium. They have Zambelli fireworks. They have that beautiful stadium. Potato Patch even has something in there. Permane Brothers has something in there. Get Yinzers to spend money that they work their asses off for. to come watch the team, and guess what? Team stinks. Always will stink. Always will try to make the most amount of money possible as opposed to making the team good. Put that on repeat for the last 25 years because this guy is the owner of the team, okay? So now this Nogol is saying the Steelers are doing that. Tone, that can't be the new narrative about the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially in the city of Pittsburgh.
No, I think he's probably in the minority there as far as that thought as attacking the Rooneys and stuff like that. They've done a fine job. They built one of the best franchises in all of sports. But with everything else, I don't disagree with him much on all the other stuff. Can't have what's going on.
New coaching staff.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that apple cider? What is that?
No, it's Turner's tea. Speaking of Pittsburgh, this is literally a gift from the gods, and you're saying apple cider.
Apple cider.
This is Turner's iced tea.
I mean, we're one day away from trick or treat. I thought, he might be getting in the holiday spirit.
Well, that's a trick that you're even saying that this treat is something that isn't it. This is Turner's tea. East Hills of Pittsburgh novelty, a treat from the gods and goddesses of iced tea. This one's a diet one, low-cal.
Nice.
Lemon flavored. Delightful. Beginning of the show was cold, no longer cold. But everybody in the back thought there's no way I finish it. What are you talking about? Half gallon? No problem. Fill me up. I'm about to piss my pants this whole show. You saw me dancing because of this. But shout out to Turner's Tea and Pittsburgh. This is a big time, obviously, Pittsburgh thing. But you're saying they don't need to sell a team.
No. They don't need to sell a team. All the other changes probably, yeah.
Whoa.
All the coaches?
He wants Tom.
All the coaches?
Quarterback? Whoa.
What?
I mean, if it's not working.
It's a long way from the preseason.
This
Last week you were all in, Diggs.
Well, that was last week, AJ. This is Monday this week.
They're 4-3, Tony. You got a winning record.
Yeah, you guys are still in a good spot.
I wish we had the same record as you. I wish we had the 5th pick.
Let's go to another overreaction. Sounds like Pittsburgh's losing it, but Turner's will always be there for you. Never forget it. Jake Roth, 13. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but Stefanski's a dipshit. Another signature loss. He will inevitably be fired at the end of the season when the Browns finish one game behind the Steelers. There you go, Tom.
That's fine, actually.
Again, Browns need to use the trade deadline to bring Vrabel back home to Ohio to save the franchise. Will Levis might be the quarterback of the future for the Titans. They might be a very different team with him throwing the pill as opposed to Ryan Tannehill. Vrabel might not be going anywhere, AJ Hawk.
He might not. I mean, the Titans, I tell you what, can Will Levis continue? I mean, obviously, he's probably not going to have 4 unbelievable, explosive touchdown passes every game, but he could. The dude looked like he was in control from the jump, so I love what they're doing.
And he is.
Oh, yeah.
Intense.
We know. He
Very
is
intense.
Super jocked. He's going to make the most of his opportunity, and he said, hey, let's not be booing, okay?
Yeah, come correct.
This is his first start, rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't like the way you guys were operating out there with Malik. Love the moxie.
That's nice.
I love the moxie. Now,
Leader.
you're going to have to play good now, right? Because if you don't, next couple of weeks, Titans fans are going to, you remember this guy had one good game when they didn't have a book on him and then he thought he could talk to us the way he talks. Why don't you shut up?
Yep.
Why don't you shut up? That's what they potentially do. But I like that he went to bat for his teammate, somebody in his own room, and I love how great he played. Congrats to Will and congrats to Vrabel and all of Tennessee, to be honest with you. All of Tennessee.
The uniforms.
And D-Hop as well. D-Hop's, that's awesome to see him throw the ball to D-Hop, 3 touchdowns. It's feel great watching him catch touchdowns like that. Also, could he have saved some people getting traded as well? Like, did that do enough to where, like, hey, maybe we were thinking about entertaining some stuff and now we're just going to calm it down and let's see how the rest of the season goes?
I'd assume that's an accurate portrayal of how things are going because instead of punting on the season, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do we
Just
got
in
something
time.
here? And I was reading some of the local bloggers down there for the Titans and just seeing how they kind of reacted to it all. I guess Tannehill just would not throw the ball to Hop whenever he was double covered or something like that. And Will Levis as a rookie, he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
D-Hop's down there somewhere. What?
Jeez.
That's good football.
Back and forth there.
That's physical football.
That's the best angle I've seen. I've seen that a little more zoomed out, but geez.
That's physical football.
Yeah.
That's Mike Vrabel football.
That's right. Boys play.
Artie Smith and Vrabes getting after it. Physical football.
Whoa.
I mean, what do you want to do?
What?
I mean, tell the guy put his hands on the ball. He's running like this. He's not going to be able to keep up.
Might be a flag, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Could have been.
wow.
But with that being said, obviously DB was very close to D-Hop there. And Will Levis was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to let it fly to him. This guy's a great football player. Let's do it. I guess that's something Tannehill, they said, would not do. I think D-Hop's probably pretty pumped All right, I got a quarterback that'll throw it in triple coverage again for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's go ahead and do this whole thing. I love it.
And it kind of opens you up to move Tannehill. Like, if they really do want to get more capital, then get him the hell out of town.
And it backs up, the box on D. Henry. You have a threat of the quarterback launching the ball 50, 60 yards down the field.
Since A.J. Brown's trade, they've really been able to pack the box and kind of handle things. Derrick Henry's still going to have success, but now, you're right. Why not let it open? The D-Hop fear is going to come back, hopefully, and Derrick Henry's only going to get stronger. They're talking about him maybe going to the Ravens. Is that what people are saying?
Yeah, Ravens and Cowboys for the two.
Yeah. Imagine Derrick Henry in that Baltimore team. Oh, my God.
It'd be absurd.
Just him standing behind Patrick.
He would look awesome.
They got Ricard.
Oh, no.
Derrick Henry, and then Lamar Jackson.
No thanks.
That's awesome.
Gus Bus had 3 yesterday. They're fine.
Yeah, we agree. But then have Gus.
Ricard blocking for Derrick Henry would be unbelievable. That would be really fun to be a linebacker, safety, really anyone in their path.
Have Gus out there, too, yeah.
That's right.
Have
use all
Ricard here, have Gus there, have Derrick Henry there.
Run the
have
fucking
Lamar.
wishbone.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, you could really.
Oh, they could bring back the Heisman backfield.
Yes.
That's
RG3.
Mark Ingram.
Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Mark Ingram.
Ricard.
Is RG3 playing still? It feels like
ready.
I hear him say a lot about
standing offers.
Yeah.
He actually taught Lamar
25
everything
teams.
he knows. I thought I saw that.
Yeah, teams are calling. They're checking in just to see where he's at.
He still looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Looks very good. It feels like he does say it like on a regular basis, like kind of leading to I'm going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
Jets-
teams are actively reaching out to him.
Jets
love it.
called him.
Could you imagine still being in shape to be able to do that?
No.
That'd be crazy. That's like Kaepernick. What was it? 8 years after he
Yeah.
played? 7 years. Like he's still ready. I'm like, I don't know how, but good luck, dude. I'm
Never
pulling
missed
for
a
it.
day.
Yeah.
Could you imagine RG3 going right from the booth straight into a starting? Could you fathom that?
We watched him run. Remember when he was doing the watch along? We saw him take off. He ran a 4.3 off that field.
Oh yeah, because his wife was going to have a baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got that text.
I do remember.
Jumped
that.
off the boat, too. Pretty high.
Yeah, he did a frog splash.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Ripped his
Sweet
pants.
Harry Potter costume this weekend, too.
He was a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
The third.
It's awesome.
Let's go to another overreaction, shall we?
Oh, I get it.
It's from Moochie. Muchísimo. Muchísimo. Muchísimo.
Yeah.
Machismo.
Muchísimo.
Cheese, Mo.
Hey, Moochie.
You got the machismo?
Yeah, I understand machismo.
Moochie, man.
Muchísimo. Mooch. Anyways. Hey, Moochie. Hashtag I don't want to overreact. But we need to talk about the Seahawks more. You're right. Geno and the team didn't play as good as they're capable of and were able to make plays when they needed it and march down the field against the number one defense. Plus, they now lead the NFC West over those fraudulent Niners. Oh. Moochie says the Niners are a fraud. Geno did have 2 turnovers, which everybody's talking about it being a problem in his eyes. But Jackson Smith and Jigba looks incredible. I mean, that was a great touchdown to win that whole thing. You're right, we do need to talk about Seattle more. And, AJ, you've already admitted on this program today that it's your fault we don't talk about them. So why don't you go ahead and change that?
Yeah, I mean, that's my bad. Really silencing all of our Seahawks talk. Obviously, I have so
Thank
much
you.
against those guys.
Thank you.
I'm the only guy in here that ever mentions their GM, John Schneider, and he and Pete Carroll's relationship, how great they are together, how tough it is to play out there, one of the best barns in the league. Tough, man.
Wow.
Let's make sure moving forward we talk about the Seahawks more, guys.
Aaron James Hawk. Aaron James Hawk.
Yeah.
Aaron James Hawk. Aaron James Hawk. Yeah, it's good.
It's a little different.
Still plays.
The AJ Hawk chants are real out there, though.
Oh, yeah.
Same with the Fire Canada one in Utah.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a Fire Canada chant in Utah.
That guy's got to feel off. Does any of this get around to him? Does he know around the country this stuff is happening?
2023, I'm thinking his phone's algo accidentally drops a couple of those into his body. There's this thing being said about Matt Canada. Can't be you, but you got to be pretty familiar. Oh, algorithm. Oh, get out of here.
I don't think so, because he'd have to have friends to send it to him. He doesn't have any of those.
Oh, we don't know.
We don't know. He's a good guy.
No, I've asked around.
I heard he's a good guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tomlin
did you?
loves
Because
him.
I heard the opposite.
Oh, really? I did not hear
I
that.
did.
From
a
who?
very credible source.
Oh,
Coach
geez.
Diggs?
Nope, Nick was standing right
Caboli?
next to me.
I heard it too. No. This goes way higher than Caboli.
Let me tell Caboli had a day.
Yeah, he looked
he
good.
Caboli had a day yesterday. You know, as Deontay Johnson was speaking about the officials from yesterday's game, which certainly robbed Chris Boswell of a 55-yarder in Pittsburgh, in rain, in wind, with an absolutely bullshit call. I mean, actually horseshit.
Ridiculous.
And then going back to like doubling down on it is the epitome of the officiating issue that we have in the NFL. Not all refs are bad. Not all calls are bad. But when they're clear and obviously fuck-ups, we don't need them to tell us how right they were and how wrong we all are as a community at 100% thinking they're wrong. Here's Deontay Johnson, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, chit-chatting about the officials in the game. Watch Kaboli's face in the background. He is R2. Half a face top right corner, then Kaboli's face. Watch him realize Deontay's taking this thing a different direction than he expected.
I don't care what nobody says. It costs us the game. Like, yeah, I got to make plays, them 2 plays, them catches or whatever, but that don't define, you know what I'm saying, the whole thing.
One more, guys.
How about them missing the call on Kenny where he hurt his ribs? Looked like he got rough there.
Nah, they wanted them to win. Bro. They was calling everything was in there. Like, they were getting every little call. But it is what it is. But we can't, like I said, I'm moving on from it. Like, I'm ready for there.
Mark Kaboli goes, can't say that. Can't say it. The refs want the other team to win. Turns his, and then he comes back with a smile. All right. This is the game you want to play. This is the game you want to play. He's going to get fined for that. Obviously, there's going to be a whole thing about how you can't publicly scrutinize the refs because it affects the integrity of the entire game, yada, 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 yada. I like that the players are willing to speak on it. Now, Deontay's going to have to play better to be taken more serious, I think, because all anybody will do is pick him apart. But look at the Chris Boswell field goal. He's talking about the Kenny Pickett one. Chris Boswell field goal. We have 2 photos of the line of scrimmage, with a line on it. Chris Boswell actually posted them on his IG story because a 55-yarder at Acrisure Stadium in October is certainly something that you would like to have on your resume, and also good for the team to send him out there for another long ball. Mm-hmm. The Jags are offsides. They called this on the right guard. Mm-hmm. The Jags are the ones lined up offsides. The ref is literally staring down. You can see the ref leaning to look around the offsides Jacksonville Jaguars player to see if anybody on the Steelers line is offsides. It's like, well, now you're not looking down the line of scrimmage. Now you're looking at an angle. So obviously there's a chance that guard might look like it's ahead. And it's like these types of things can happen. Wow. Especially when it involves a point and it's that wrong. It's like we should just be able to fix that. But instead, after the game, the ref says, you all are wrong. Yeah. We are right. It's like, that's not the case. We need a little accountability, AJ. We need a little accountability.
How about the Terry McLaurin deal, too, where he checks 3 different times and gives him the thumbs up like he was all right, and they still throw it on him. Like, that stuff should never happen in the NFL, let alone high school. It shouldn't even happen.
Hey, refs, we understand it's a hard job, but all we're trying to say is technology is here, and also we don't need you to be stubborn and act like you're right. We know you're not. You're a human. You're going to be wrong. But don't make us feel like we're the fucking idiots.
And this one's not a hard call, though. This isn't like, oh, maybe PI, maybe not. This is a static thing before the snap. Like, this shouldn't be difficult.
Let me look around the offsides guy to see, is there anybody?
Looks
like it.
Well, now that I look at it this way.
Yeah, I mean, if this person would just fucking back up a little bit, I could really see the line. Makes no sense. Anyways, wouldn't have mattered.
Well,
in the end, wouldn't have mattered.
Probably not.
Jags would have still been stealing terrible towels.
Maybe.
Would have been still stealing.
10-point game.
Let's go to another overreaction, shall we? This one's from Ray Marshall at Marshall Law 308. Hope that doesn't happen. Hashtag, I don't want to overreact, but the Chiefs are dead. 16-game winning streak over Broncos is gone. Mr. Pfizer, if you're wondering who that is, Travis Kelce, should have convinced his QB1 to get his flu vaccine so this wouldn't have happened. T. Swizzle needs to show up to all the games so Travis Kelce can ball out. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
That's a good point.
I didn't even think about that, AJ. What the hell's going on over there?
That's smart. Now, T. Swift is not there. They lose the game for the first time when she's not there. So then, boom, she gets even more people like, hey, we absolutely need you. So now she'll be like performing. She's going to go to a Chiefs game in the afternoon and then fly international and go do a concert that night.
Well, that's what we're worried about. She's in Argentina in 2 weeks. The international leg of the tour is starting to tip off. So
not good.
We're a little bit worried about the good war.
Get the hologram situation going.
Oh, yeah.
For the concert.
No, for the concert.
For the concert, yeah.
Oh, you would like Taylor Swift to tell her fans to go fuck themselves with a hologram so she can watch the Chiefs?
How would they know?
Hey, listen, we're not, they'd be good for football.
If they're real fans, they'd understand, hey, she needs to be there supporting the love of her life.
True.
She's got to win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
That's right.
They got another Super Bowl to win.
Get another ring.
Anyways, they need her good vibes in the stadium. I saw 0 synchronized handshakes with Patrick Mahomes' wife this weekend. So you think that's coincidence? I don't know.
Made the viewing experience much worse. I know that.
He was so sick.
He was.
I didn't even think about it. Mr. Pfizer, literally.
I know. Hey, go get the flu shot.
Also, he maybe got the shot. We don't know.
Oh, yeah, because there is a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, no. We don't. Nope. Not getting into that.
I was told.
You can
Not getting into that.
You can get vaccinated and still get sick.
So I would like to say that on record, COVID, I was vaccinated.
Yeah.
I did get vaccinated. And then I did have 104.5 degree fever about a month and a half
Yeah,
later.
but it would have been 104.7 if you didn't get the.
Boom.
Well, they said 105 need to go to the hospital, so I was getting there. That thing was yodely climbing up, and I'm like, bro, am I about to be? Because they said once you get too hot, maybe brain.
Oh yeah, brain starts melting.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. But I was an outlier at the time, obviously. Now, looking back, I don't know how big of an outlier it was, but I'm not the one doing the numbers. I'm not doing the numbers.
Not an outlier.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, whoa.
Hey.
Just saying.
Son of a bitch.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You can't just be saying, is what he's saying.
Maybe Travis should have avoided large crowds on Friday night when he wouldn't have got Pat sick.
Wait, Kelsey's sick too?
No, Kelsey went to a baseball game.
Yeah.
Saw George Dubb throw out the opening.
Dude, exactly. It was a great baseball
Yeah, it was.
game.
So many people.
Walk-off dinger at the end.
Yeah.
Extra innings.
Yeah.
Baseball's on fire right now.
It's good. They got a game tonight.
Yes, they do.
All right, let's make our picks. Speaking of game tonight, thank you to everybody that participated in the overreactions. Ty, thank you for your incredible work. That's a fun thing just to go through, by the way, on the old X app. It's a fun thing to go through. You can really learn about where everybody is. All right, without further ado, here we go. Raiders, Lions, 7.5 point. Ooh, 7, you can get it if you like the Lions. 7.5, also on some books. We have heard that Kid Rock will not be in the building this evening. We do not know about the other Detroit celebrities. Evan Fox will certainly not be there, which we are not happy about either. We thought we potentially have boots on the ground for a Monday Night Football game. Foxy said even the brand new Lions can't get me to drive that far on a Monday night, which is a damn. Ain't that what? Is that what happened?
I don't know if I said that, but hey, maybe Thanksgiving I'll be home for that one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Got to work. Guys got a job, he says. But Detroit is sold out. It's the first Monday Night Football game in Detroit since
2018.
Okay. Been 5 years. It's building up. It's going to be big.
Yes.
Darius, we will start with you. How do you see it going? What do you think? What do you think is the right pick?
You know what?
You
go Lions. Lions win.
-7.
Lions cover.
Okay. D-Butt likes the Lions -7 and obviously the money line as well. AJ Hawk, who do you like? How do you like it?
So I will take the Lions here, -7 at home. They're going to rally around this raucous environment they will have tonight. Who knows? Kid Rock may show up. We don't know. I heard Uncle Cracker might be in the house. So give me the Lions -7.
Okay. And Posner, he's going to be buried in Detroit.
Yep.
When he dies.
That's right.
But tonight he ain't dying. He's living. Him and Tim Robinson are doing their dance as the Lions win 31-21 and cover the spread. Congrats to the Detroit Lions having a great Monday Night Football. And thank you for wrapping up Week 8 of the NFL season in a beautiful fashion in Motor City.
Man. That ball was flat.
All right, anyways, Aaron Rodgers, too. That was the one.
Yeah, it was.
To let me know if I was right or not.
Yeah.
And it felt so good. I was like, holy shit, the tide's turning. And then, the clown and Happy Gilmore to me. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean anything. Let's enjoy the hell out of tonight. We appreciate you all for allowing us to do this. Aaron Rodgers Tuesday is tomorrow. It should be bananas as we react or overreact to what the Lions and Raiders do this evening. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Goodbye.